The attention given to Steven Strasburg's debut unprecedented. Electrifying the home crowd with one punch out after another, he left us all wanting more. Today we get it. Strasburg and the Nats from Cleveland on MASN.
It's a great day for baseball.
For some people, even in the Cleveland Indians team store, it's all about Steven Strasburg. For the Nats, it's all about trying to win a game on the road. It has not been a good weekend here at Progressive Field, and the Nats need to win one. They've lost 15 of their last 21 road games. Bob Carpenter, Rob Dibble, but it seems like everything keeps taking back seat to this guy, and Strasburg coming off an amazing performance, you have to admit.
Well, he's coming off a great performance, but last night, Fausto Carmona could care less about Strasburg. He dominated our guys like this. Fastballs, breaking balls, changeups. There you see the second K. You're going to see some of these breaking balls. That's the great curveball that he goes down about 82 miles an hour with. He throws a changeup upwards of 90 miles an hour or 91 miles an hour, and a blazing fastball upwards of 100 miles an hour. But it's his command, Bob, that makes him unique. He can throw strikes when he's behind in the count. He can throw strikes with all of his secondary pitches when he's behind in the count, and or he'll just challenge you with some smoke when he's behind in the count. So the kid has no fear. His mound presence is amazing, and none of this hoopla really gets to him.
His mound presence has been very impressive. We'll talk more about that during the game today. So coming off, 7 times 2. There's your 14. He came out to do long toss in the outfield a few moments ago. And here in Cleveland, everybody really interested. They're going to more than double their crowd today.
Yeah, I mean, because people haven't seen a kid at 21 years old have this kind of command of 3-4 pitches. And so when you're looking at a kid at 21 years old, he's just a year removed from college, to go out there and do what he did, not just the opening day. I mean, it's what he's done in the minor leagues, what he's done to this point, and to have the kind of poise that he has and possesses, I think it's very impressive.
And the bottom line is the Indians are the team dominating this weekend so far. They've hit 5 home runs. They have 43 on the year. Only Seattle has hit fewer in the American League. So who's going to stop the Tribe, who has outscored the Nats 14-3? I think we might know who can do that today. Nationals baseball on MASN, brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Honda. Look for money-saving leases and low financing at your Honda dealer. Big crowd coming into Cleveland today. In a place where they average 16,023 fans a game, it's the lowest average attendance in all of Major League Baseball. That's about to change today. Strasburg just into the dugout about a minute ago from his warm-up tosses in the bullpen. And we have some pre-game notes for you as the Nats try to salvage one here. Interleague games, the Nats, well, surprisingly only 5 under all time. 2-3 so far. Strasburg, 4th rookie with 14 or more strikeouts and no walks. Roger Clemens, Doc Gooden, Kerry Wood did it. Austin Kearns is tied for second, or the team lead rather, in RBIs with 31, and second in runs. He's having a fine year, 2 for 8 with a couple of home runs in this series. Alberto Gonzalez bats 9th, hitting .292. Ryan Zimmerman is the DH today. And worthy of note, Mike Morse is in there, hitting a robust .417 in 18 games this year. Who's the forgotten pitcher of the day? It's left-hander David Huff, who's 2-7 with a 5.5 ERA. First time in his career he sees the Nationals, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, Rob, but he had a life-threatening moment earlier in this season. He's a solid lefty who's not getting a whole lot of run support.
No, he's not, and he was a top 40 guy. Hits just keep on coming. 76 hits in 60 innings pitched and 10 home runs. He was a sandwich pick, 39th overall back in 2006 between the first and second round. And come fly with me, he's a fly ball pitcher, 137 fly ball outs as opposed to 82 ground ball outs. this is the incident you spoke of, Bob. Alex Rodriguez hits a line shot right back in the box. He misses it. It hits him square in the face. And that is the scariest moment a pitcher will ever feel.
Alex obviously upset, and as he left the field, David Huff raising his arm, giving the thumbs up. What everybody was hoping for from somebody carried off on a stretcher. So the Nationals hitting .261, 5th in the league, 10th in runs and 8th in homers. And the Cisco defense, brought to you by Cisco Federal, proud mission partner to the United States Department of Defense. Former Nat Anderson Hernandez gets the call at shortstop today. Other than that, pretty much the same Indians that have been out there all weekend. 14-year veteran Brian O'Nora has the plate. Scott Berry, Phil Cuzzy, crew chief Jerry Crawford the bases. Kristen Guzman is suddenly in a tailspin. Takes a strike. We're underway at 1:07 Eastern time. It's been very gloomy, foggy, and misty all day. 75 degrees, quite muggy. Guzman is 0 for 3 in this series and 1 for his last 19. Maybe batting right-handed as a switch hitter today, where he's hitting .349, will help. But his batting average way up into the .320 range now at .297.
Well, and the one thing we saw from Jeff Carson's when Strasburg faced Pittsburgh, he had a great day also till around the 5th inning. So he may raise the level of consciousness of the opposing pitchers.
Yeah, this will amp up the other guy too. Here's the stat of the day for you for the Nationals offense. With Ryan Zimmerman going deep last night, the Nats have 55 home runs this year, the same as the Philadelphia Phillies, who've been destroyed 2 days in a row in Boston. By the way, interleague play going into this Sunday. American League 36, National League 34.
Well, those 2 runs they got was the guy that replaced Daisuke Matsuzaka, and then they shut it down. They got 2 runs all day. Red Sox ended up scoring 10.
Sun trying to come out. Guzman lines one, but it's softly at Valbuena, the second baseman. In the first inning of this series, the Nats had some offense on Friday night. Lost a base runner, Morgan trying to steal. They went 1-2-3 last evening. They trailed early in both games of this series after the first inning. Nyjer Morgan has 2 hits and 7 at bats. Tell you, if that sun comes out and stays out, this place is going to turn into a sauna. Nyjer hitting just .254, .319 on base percentage, and as the number 2 batter in the lineup, he's batting .286. He's seen him 3 times with a base hit. Morgan hits it well, and tailing to the corner for Austin Kearns, who is playing near the line. Good scouting by the Indians and good execution. Ryan Zimmerman was having a rough series until he took one way out of here last evening. That's number 13, number 104 career, the Nationals' only run in a 7-1 loss.
Well, we need to start getting some guys on in front of our big 3. Our 3, 4, 5 guys are as good as anybody in the league, but you got to have some people on to make it a big-time success story. These solo shots aren't really helping us.
Nats, by the way, only have 2 batters who've ever seen this pitcher. You saw Morgan's numbers. Adam Kennedy is the other.
And he's not in the lineup.
Not in the lineup. He's 1 for 3. Zimmerman DHing, hits it sharply to shortstop. Anderson Hernandez. Out on a close play.
Wow.
He went into the hole to get it. Steven Strasburg toweling off. Long TV breaks today, so he can take his time getting out there. For an instant, Nationals thought they had their first base hit. Former net Anderson Hernandez from the hole.
Well, this is deep in the hole, and Anderson Hernandez is going to have to test his arm right here. Comes up with it, doesn't field it cleanly, throws it across the diamond, and it looked like Zim beat the throw.
Ryan thought he did. He signaled safe. Scott Berry called him out.
No, he beats the throw. So another missed call at first base in this series.
We've had a few.
Jerry Crawford missed one the opening night and Friday.
And that cost the Nationals 3 runs. So the Nats go in order. Zimmerman doesn't play third. And here is the Cleveland lineup. 10th in the league in hitting. Only Seattle has scored fewer runs and hit fewer home runs. Austin Kearns, 2 homers, 4 RBIs on Friday night. And their rookie catcher, Carlos Santana, has had an impact with his first major league homer last night. Steven Strasburg's second major league start. What does he do for an encore? We're about to find out. Trevor Crowe, the center fielder, 1 for 8, will be his first batter. Left-hander. A guy you can challenge. 1 home run on the year. The glove goes bang.
Well, and watch third base because Alberto Gonzalez is replacing a Gold Glove third baseman. The last time he started at third, 427, Bob, back in April.
Big breaking ball for a strike. There's a buzz in the crowd. Crowe 1 for 8, couple of RBIs in this series. We got some good hitters that have suddenly come alive after a season-long slump. Strasburg with a breaking ball low. Brian O'Nora seeing him for the first time, the home plate umpire. He visited with Steven briefly as he took the mound to remind him that the game's on national television and the breaks between innings are longer than usual. So take your time warming up.
Well, and we said this in the first start when Tom Hallian had it. You can't give up on his breaking ball. It's slower. It's about almost 20-mile-an-hour slower than the fastball and has a late break to it. And it's going to change tiers, so you can't stand up as an umpire and call a ball because it comes down right to where the catcher is.
He went to Nat strikeout number 1 on a fastball that was not in the strike zone.
Well, he's definitely a road show, just like at home, bringing in about 15-20,000 more fans. His mound presence is amazing. It doesn't seem that he gets phased by any of this stuff. He rarely shows emotion. And enjoy yourself again. That's what John Smoltz told him in the first start. Just go out there and have fun and soak it all in.
This is the matchup I've been waiting for. Shin-Soo Choo, one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now, on a 10-game hitting streak. He's hitting close to 400 at home this year. Fastball up and away to the South Korean, who's really having a good year for the Indians now. And some folks will probably miss the first inning or two, still trying to get into the ballpark.
Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me.
Breaking ball, he's late for it.
Well, and he's at a total advantage right now because most of these hitters, unless they faced him in the minor leagues, have never faced him or faced a pitcher like him. Unless they turned around and hit off Fausto Carmona last night. Adam Dunn said he was fantastic. Great changeup, great slider, and great fastball.
1-2 delivery.
That's
close to
pitch.
The inside corner.
100 miles an hour on that last one. Here's the pitch track. That's strike 3.
Cisco defense for the Nationals. Mike Morse gets a start in right field today. Ian Desmond back in at short with Guzman up the middle. Alberto Gonzalez, as mentioned earlier, for Zimmerman, and Pudge Rodriguez will catch Steven Strasburg again. 3-2.
A lot of the Indians up on the rail watching Strasburg.
Who still hasn't walked a major league hitter. Strikeout number 2.
On a 99-mile-an-hour, and it looked like a sinker.
That's not fair at this thing sinker.
His ball has so much movement, whether it's the four seam, and that's a sinker. 99 miles an hour.
I talked to George Frazier the other day, Colorado Rockies analyst, and he says that Ubaldo Jimenez is throwing his sinker mid-90s. So you have 2 pitchers right now in baseball that are doing something nobody else is doing. And Strasburg's seems to be a couple miles per hour harder than Ubaldo's. There's the young catcher Santana, who takes a first pitch breaking ball low.
Regardless of who throws hard or throws it hard, they're both amazing. And Ubaldo should be given his own credit. He's doing a great job, and he pitches in Colorado.
Well, somebody finally pulled one. 1 ball, 1 strike. And well hit to left field. Josh Willingham with a ball slicing back toward him. Indians make contact once, and the crowd is applauding that. "15 pitches, 10 strikes for Steven Strasburg. Couple of Ks in the first inning. Hey, don't forget about the New Era Flex plan at the ballpark. You can pick any 3 games at Nationals Park. A 4th one free, and while supplies last, a New Era Nationals ball cap. Go to nationals.com/new era or call 202-675-NATS. Maximum 4 tickets per purchase. Speaking of ball caps, Rob, what is that David Huff has on the bill of his baseball cap?
Just looks like some rosin. It's like to get a better grip. Got some rosin on there, maybe a little pine tar mixed in. It's not illegal unless you get caught.
Julian Tavares, a former Nat who's pitched for a lot of ball clubs, had his cap taken out of a game years ago for having substances on the bill of that ball hat.
And you notice he goes right to the bill, to the back of his hat, and then he never wipes it off. So
Adam Dunn, he wipes one down the right field line. It's a fair ball, and Dunn will make the turn and lumber into second base. Nobody's covering the bag, by the way. They were on the shift, and the Indians got their signals crossed, and nobody was on the bag.
Adam made it look like he was catching a football coming around first. He smacks this into right field. He's jogging around first, hustling towards second. And here's the throw in, and Adam puts his arms up. Hey, I'll catch that, since there's nobody covering second.
I do believe that was the job of Anderson Hernandez, the shortstop, to get back over there, and he just was standing around ball watching. So here's Josh Willingham. Adam Dunn, by the way, 34th extra base hit of the year. He's tied with Kelly Johnson and Jason Worth for the National League lead.
Well, and Huff looks like he's on top of his game, which is very reminiscent of Jeff Carson's with Pittsburgh.
After he just gave up a laser?
Well, it's a laser, but it was still in the strike zone.
Okay. Willingham trying to move the runner at least. He got jammed on that pitch. And an inside-out swing to the right side. Josh, rough weekend. He's 0 for 7 in this series. And hitting .273. But in baseball, we always look at things over the long haul. And over the last 3 weeks, Josh hitting .303.
Well, I look at Santana, too, the rookie catcher for the Indians. Did a great job with Westbrook. Great job with Carmona yesterday.
Yeah.
So not only has he hit a little bit, he's come up here and handled the pitchers quite well. It's not that easy. You get a new catcher. It's an uncomfortable feeling as a pitcher. I've never thrown to this guy, or else in spring training, and you don't know if he even knows the hitters or not. He just knows what the game plan is and going over some different charts.
Strike call. Josh Willingham can't believe it. It is not like him to take 2 strike pitches.
Well, it's not like him to even argue or question, and that is, came around the back door, looked a little bit outside, and he knows, because he puts his hands over the plate, that if it's that far outside and he doesn't swing at it, it's usually a ball.
I don't think Josh is seeing the ball like he was a couple of weeks ago, because he's usually hacking on that. Here's Pudge Rodriguez, 2 for 4 with an RBI here Friday night. He's 5 for 11 since coming off the DL.
Well, you would have liked to have seen Josh get Adam over to third base there with no outs.
It's not guaranteed that Dunn scores on a single from second base. have a look at our Luna double. 2+ hits this year in any ball game by major league catchers. Victor Martinez just ahead of Pudge. Great names on that list. Call for the Luna double. Get your second room of flooring free at 877-241-LUNA.
Bob, if you notice Chu right there, he's got a different stance as an outfielder. He looks like he's ready to run in as opposed to just kind of standing flat-footed or on the balls of his feet.
And by the way, Pudge Rodriguez is the only Nationals batter who has a 2-hit game in this series. The Nationals have been out hit 18-10 and outscored 14-3. Target away on 0-2. Another strikeout. Rob, you were right. David Huff is on his game early.
Almost every pitch is right around the strike zone, and you're going to get those outside corners as long as you keep peppering that zone. And Huff, good changeup away, and Pudge swings over top of it. So we saw it with Carmona. What did he throw? 19-24 or 19-26 yesterday? First pitch strikes. That's an outstanding ratio.
106 pitch complete game. Here's Michael Morse, who's been swinging beautifully. Now Mike doesn't get a lot of at bats in bunches. 18 of them in his last 13 games, but somehow he has kept himself sharp and has 9 hits. 10 for 24 overall on the year.
Look at that. 18 out of 20 pitches for strikes so far. Well, I'm going to tell you how Morse keeps himself ready for that. Rick Eckstein and I discussed this exact topic today. He gets him ready to face every closer on every team. So he says, even if you come in the 5th inning, if you're ready to hit off a guy throwing 95 plus, you're ready to hit. And so they've tried to shorten up his swing and tighten him up a little bit.
That's a quick swing. Michael did go deep in the ball game. That was a really big blast straight away center, and his first home run of the year.
So Rick's trying to get him to come across on a level plane instead of having that big sweeping uppercut that we've seen sometimes from Michael. As long as he keeps it short and sweet, he's got the power to hit anybody. He thinks he gets this 1-2 pitch. Well, that looked as good as the one he threw to Josh Willingham.
Morse squirts one fair right field line. Adam Dunn will score. Michael Morse will stop with an RBI hit. They'll throw in behind him, and the Nationals lead 1-0.
Ooh, what happened at home plate there? It looks like Dunn took out Santana.
Well, if Santana was standing on home plate with no throw coming, why was he? Adam Dunn checks with him to make sure he's okay. If a catcher has a throw coming, yeah, block the plate, but there was no throw coming home. At least he didn't think so.
Well, and I think Brian O'Nora's telling him, son, you can't stand on the plate when the guy's running across it if you don't have a play. He can legally take you out. And right there you see Morse. Morse does a good job. Shu's got a great arm. And there you see Adam Dunn just actually it was protecting himself because Santana was in his way.
Yeah, Adam Dunn doesn't have any gear on.
Adam Dunn doesn't have to, give the right of way to a catcher that's not involved in the play.
Bottom line, a big hit for Michael Morse. And Rob, nothing good seems to happen to pitchers after they don't get a call on a 2-strike count. We've certainly seen it happen to enough of the Nationals hurlers lately.
Agreed.
So here's Desmond. He drives one to right center. Coming back to Chu, and the Nats have a 1-run lead. Dunn a double. Morse a big 2-out single. 1-0 for Strasburg and the Nats. Nationals have a 1-0 lead. Time for Byron Kerr and the AFCIA sideline report. Log on to AFCIA.org, the association for IT pros. Byron.
Bob, it was 38 years ago this week that Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley was signed by the Cleveland Indians. He's here this week watching Strasburg and talked about his debut.
I knew he had the velocity was there. I didn't know he had that hook, and I didn't even know he had that changeup. So you're talking about 3, I say plus pitches, plus pitches. But what I saw more than anything, it was the command, because you're talking about a guy, the adrenaline. I know what it feels like. I mean, the first time out there, and first time I was out there, it was probably 5,000 people, not 50. I mean, this is like a playoff game, and that's what I was impressed with.
Eckersley likened the buzz in the game the same way he felt when he saw Mark Fidrich pitch for the first time in the majors, guys.
Well, let's certainly hope this career is longer than that one. Fastball up and away, bottom of the second. And Travis Hafner, the DH. By the way, Dennis Eckersley and George Hamilton still the 2 healthiest looking guys on the planet.
He looks about 30.
It's disgusting to run into him.
Great skin, no crow's feet on his eyes.
That ball's well hit, might leave the ballpark. Home run, Travis Hafner. The second one given up in 2 games by Strasburg, and the Indians tie the game.
Well, you throw this hard, and even on your changeups, and that's what that looked like. He's going to give up home runs. I mean, he throws a 90-mile-an-hour changeup and a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and this guy's got a slow bat, so he just got the bat out, hit it. Just got out of here. What is it, about 330 down the right field line?
Yeah. Hafner has 2 of his 7 homers this weekend. Kearns has 2 of his 7. This one will stay in the ballpark for Michael Morse. The Indians are hitting way too many home runs against the Nats for the kind of ball club they are. But you got to give them credit. Their bats have come alive on this warm, muggy weekend. They've completely out-hit the Nats.
Yeah, but it's an American League ballpark, American League ball club, and they're supposed to hit homers and 3-run homers, and they swing for the fences. And there you saw another second home run given up on a changeup by Strasburg.
Well, he learned his lesson last time, didn't he?
Well, and you know, they should have the scouting report on Hafner. Slow bat, slider bat speed. Why are we attacking that guy with off-speed stuff when you could just blow him away? So once again, just like Delwyn Young, giving the guy too much credit, and he's one of the worst hitters in their lineup.
Russell Brandon hitting a .259 with 8 home runs. The Indians do not have a double-digit home run guy in their lineup.
Well, there you saw the quick little slider that he really didn't feature that much in the first one. So that's a 5th wrinkle that he throws at you.
And then the big breaker stays up and away, 2-1. You can pitch a long time and make a lot of money giving up solo homers and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, he's supplying so much power, even on his secondary pitches. You know, even on Austin Kearns. Austin Kearns was late, hit it to right field. You know, he hit it about 280 feet. I mean, it's the bottom line is this kid's around the plate. He's going to hit some bats.
Two-two pitch. Big breaking ball. Pudge drops it. Branyan makes no effort to run. Tag out, 2 down. Strikeout number 3.
No, it's a very good breaking ball right here. There you see the grip, pull on top of it. And Pudge just doesn't hold on to it, but Branyan nowhere near hitting it.
Tough to center that ball in your catcher's mitt, too, at times. 2 outs, bases empty, and third baseman Johnny Peralta.
Well, and even Pudge has to get ready for the 100-mile-an-hour, and then all of a sudden he breaks it back to 82. There it is again.
Johnny thought he was getting a first pitch fastball. Pudge looking at the feet of the hitter. Another breaking ball on the corner. Well, you better not look for that because the Express will be by you.
Well, those were 2 different speeds. One was about 80 miles an hour, and that one was about 85 miles an hour. And so he can change speeds on all of his pitches, by the way.
Elevating the fastball, but well outside.
That was the century mark. And just a little bit more over the plate and chest high. He's fun to watch because he throws pitches even seasoned veterans don't command as well. You know, one of the only guys I can remember that just commanded that many pitches was Greg Maddux. And there's going to be days when the 100-mile-an-hour fastball's not there. He could just get people out with his secondary pitches.
2-2.
I watched Jose Rijo in the '90 World Series dominate the Oakland A's with just a slider. You'd laugh at him, slider, 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 to about 90 out of 100.
89, that was the changeup. I still have to do a double take whenever I say that.
Well, he grips it and he throws it the way you're supposed to throw it. He's just got that kind of arm.
Rocking and working quickly. Breaking ball freezes the right-handed batter. Strasburg 2 strikeouts in each of the first 2 innings. Home run to Hafner. It's 1-1 after 2. Steven Strasburg pitching on this Sunday. The Washington Post is celebrating that this weekend with the Strasburg poster, only available at retail locations, and today in the Sunday final edition. Make sure to get your Strasburg poster this weekend, only at retail locations. Top of the 3rd, Alberto Gonzalez, Christian Guzman, and Niger Morgan. Strasburg 30 pitches, 20 strikes in the first 2 innings. 25 pitches, 21 strikes for David Huff.
Not so bad.
Alberto Gonzalez having a fine year as a part-time player, hitting .292.
Well, I know San Diego State doesn't play UCLA, or didn't last year, but Huff went to UCLA. And obviously, you know where Strasburg went, San Diego State. So it's UCLA versus San Diego State today.
Thank goodness no aluminum bats. Hard to believe that Alberto has played in 44 games. He just comes and goes, an inning at third base or anywhere on the infield here and there. A pinch hit appearance here and there.
Well, we're going to have to start taking those pitches to right field, especially our right-handers. He is just pounding the outside part of the plate.
I think the second time,
fastballs.
Second time around the batting order will be interesting for the right-handed batters. He has guys lunging instead of stroking that ball the other way.
Well,
and that's 3 strikeouts for Huff.
Sometimes you get a scouting report and it's wrong, and you have to throw it out. And so whatever these guys are waiting on, they were probably told before the game he's featuring. Well, he's featuring fastballs and change-ups away and just making us look sick.
The big hit he gave up was to a left-handed batter, Dunn. Mike Morse did go the other way down the line for an RBI hit. Guzman lined out softly to second first time, and Christian needs something to fall in somewhere. He's 1 for 20. That'll fall in.
Hey, baby. Get away, Goozer.
Guzman aboard with 1 out for Niger Morgan, who hit the ball sharply first time. That'll get Christian Guzman back up toward the 300 mark. Finance came in hitting .261. That's the 5th highest batting average for any team in the National League. But they've got the 4th worst road record in the league now at 12-21.
Yeah, that's all I look at, Bob. We're behind Florida by a game. We're 6 back of Atlanta. Still in the race right now, but you don't want to keep falling farther and farther back because of your poor road play against sub-500 teams.
And the Nats are playing .600 ball at home.
No, we know we're much better than this.
Morgan shows bunt, and it's still a called strike. Generous strike zone today for Brian O'Nora. Some of the hitters chatting with him, but now I think it's the 3rd inning. They pretty much know
It's
what
a
kind
loose
of
strike
day it's
zone,
going
exactly.
to be.
So get ready to swing. You can't complain if you're not going to swing the wood.
It is 0-2.
Attaboy.
This ballpark's capacity is 45,569. I would say there's about
35
or so here. Their average attendance 16,023. Morgan will hit an identical line drive to Kearns for the second out. So this will be their second largest crowd since opening day. And Ryan Zimmerman, the DH, robbed of a hit by Anderson Hernandez, will bat here with 2 outs. I asked Ryan if he's one of those guys that goes back to the clubhouse, maybe to look at videotape of his previous at bat, and in typical Zimmerman understated fashion said, "If I'm bored." And this, of course, is totally tongue-in-cheek. But Ryan said, you know, because the Nats never DH in September, they're playing teams from their own division. He said, yeah, it's too bad in September. I could go back and check on all the football scores. But Ryan is very aware of everything around him, and in between his at-bats, he'll be checking everything out from the dugout. Ooh, had a big rip on a pitch up. Zimmerman over the last 2 weeks came into this game batting .391.
Well, and this is a good pitcher for guys like Zim and Dunn. He's given up 10 home runs, 60 innings coming in. But for guys like Niger, he's got to get on top of that ball and hit it downward.
Yeah. Zimmerman, great power to right center. Huff's been keeping the ball away from Nats right-handers. And he was on his way to the dugout, did not get the call.
Yep. Brian Onora stood up, looked like he was going to ring him up.
And then there's one way to irritate an umpire, and that's to start walking off the mound after a pitch is outside.
But that ball's 8 to 10 inches off the plate. You can't beg for that outside pitch that much.
Zimmerman stays alive.
You keep pushing the envelope out, but you know, you're talking about an all-star third baseman and a silver slugger up there. You're talking about a couple of best on-base percentage guys between Dunn and Willingham.
Yeah. And he is only making his 35th career start, David Huff. Career record of 13 and 15 coming in. They're going to jam Zimmerman, and Anderson Hernandez takes another hit away from him. Nats get a base hit from Guzman. They've stranded 2 runners in a 1-1 game. Here's our game summary. After 2.5, Adam Dunn, a double, a run scored. Morse drove him in. Travis Hafner, the DH of the Indians, a solo homer off Strasburg, who has fanned 4 in 2 innings.
Well, it gives him 18 strikeouts in 9 innings, no walks so far in his major league career. He's allowed 5 hits, 2 on home runs. So he's been everything that we've expected and then some. Just pounding the strike zone. A couple of guys that connected on his off-speed stuff.
This will be an interesting inning. He's facing 3 hitters with very little power. Pudge Rodriguez walked out to him and talked after a couple of warm-up tosses. I wonder if they just
that might be to slow him down.
Yeah, and then maybe they canceled all the off-speed pitches for these first 3 hitters. We'll see. Got to mix it up a little bit.
Well,
you don't want to get hurt to these guys.
Yeah, if he gets ahead without showing them the real good breaking ball, then you throw the real good breaking ball. It doesn't matter who's up there. If he throws that best breaking ball, he can strike anybody out in the game. But you know, you don't want to be behind in the count and try to lob one in there and help these guys.
First up, Luis Valbuena, the second baseman, hitting a .169. He goes up chopping. Ball will not stay fair before Strasburg could get to it. I remember his first inning in Vieira, Rob, against the Tigers. He got 3 ground ball outs.
Yep. Oh no, guys.
You'd love to see innings like that occasionally.
And here's the thing: being a former power pitcher, guys come up swinging. They don't want to get behind. And I told you what Dimitri Young said. You don't want to get to that secondary pitch phase, which is the breaking ball changeup.
There's a breaker.
The breaking ball. So I mean, you know, for Valbuena, he knew, okay, I'm a light hitter. He's probably going to challenge me to get ahead. That might be my only chance to get on base.
Fastball chopped. They're going to have to hurry on this one. Good runner. Strasburg beats his man to the bag. Adam Dunn, and a first baseman, feels like he's waiting forever for that ball to come down. Well played on both ends.
Well, Strasburg also a very good fielder, very good athlete, and right here he gets off the mound, go cover first base, that's your job. Adam gives him a nice feed, and he beats Valbuena, who it took him some time to get out of the box. I thought he should have beat this out. So Valbuena took him some time to get going. Strasburg beats him to the bag, and he's out.
Here's Anderson Hernandez, a former Nat, 2 for 8 in 3 games with Cleveland.
And here's the thing, if you're a light hitter and you're going to try and pull this guy, you're not going to have a lot of luck. But if you go the other way, you let him supply the power, you're going to get some singles, maybe some doubles down the line.
Hernandez, a .232 hitter in parts of 4 years with the Mets, 2 tours of duty and the Nationals. Came to Washington for Luis Ayala.
Here's your defense shaded to left field because of who's hitting. The power guy on the hill.
And he pulls the ball. Dunn waits for it. Ground ball out. It's coming quickly. 2 down.
Good little slide piece, or even a cut fastball, or even that sinker. It's hard to tell with the movement he throws, but something that hard and down. And Hernandez got a piece of it, but not much. I mean, whatever he was throwing right here is supposed to be outside. It looks like a sinker that just comes down over the plate. And that's the thing with a power pitcher. He could be holding a 4-seam fastball and make it cut, even though he's not throwing a cutter.
Trevor Crowe struck out swinging to start the game. Strasburg gives up 1 hit, the Hafner homer. His first time through the Cleveland lineup. And another chopper. Guzman's going to have to hurry. 3 ground ball outs for Steven Strasburg. That'll save you some pitches. Adam Dunn has a double, a run scored. He'll lead off the 4th in a 1-1 game. On to the top of the 4th inning. Nationals have out hit the Indians 3-1. 1-1 ball game thanks to Adam Dunn. Rob Dibble, he's become a line drive machine over the last month, hitting over 340.
Well, he feels so good. That's plate coverage. You saw Santana's arm go up way off the left side of the plate. Same thing right here. Right side of the plate coverage by a long arm Michael Morse. And Adam Dunn, basically a great pulling tackle block right there on Santana. And I don't think Santana's going to block home plate without the ball ever again.
What just happened to Santana happened to a lot of high school linebackers in the state of Texas years ago, before Adam decided not to play football at the University of Texas and instead signed with the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, can you imagine coming down the line and he's running the option, and then he
shoots the gap.
He shovels the ball off, and then he hits you. That's what just happened.
Adam Dunn now 3 for 7 in this series. But he's a different hitter than he was a month ago because he's not walking much. He's only walked 3 times in the last week and a half. Nothing but base hits, couple of home runs. In fact, a 3-game home run streak. And he looks at that one that misses from David Huff. Huff, an amazing 3 innings, 39 pitches, 33 strikes. Maybe too many. You can throw too many strikes, can't you? Got to keep the ball off the corners here and there.
Yeah, but not in his case. I mean, he's a young guy, like you said, 35th start. Best way to keep us off the bases. We're very patient. We make guys throw 100 pitches by 5 innings often. And so for him, just be around the plate. He's getting some outs.
2-2, and Adam, seeing the ball well, takes it for a full count.
He is painting that corner. He feels pretty good about going on to the right side of the plate.
Josh Willingham struggling on deck. Adam Dunn, see you later. Nationals lead 2-1. It's another line drive for Dunn. This just went about 380 or 90.
Well, and Huff made a fatal mistake right there. Threw 1 pitch on the inner half, came right back in the exact same spot after Adam got a double on the outside pitch the first at bat. And like you said, Bob, now that they've seen him and they know he's pounding that side of the plate, look at this pitch. Curveball on the inner half after you just thrown it. Looked like a changeup on the inner half. And when Adam is looking for something, That ball was blistered.
Adam Dunn, 14th homer of the year. He's now in the top 3 in the National League. He's on an absolute tear. Now hitting 40 points over his career average. And Josh Willingham is next. Like a changeup.
Yeah.
Up and away, 2-0. Josh hungry for a hit, 0 for 8 in this series.
Well, you know you can't throw anything from the middle of the plate in on Josh, so they're pounding the strike zone away, and they have been for the last week. And he's going to have to start showing that I can hit it to right field, I can hit it to right center, or they're just going to stay out there.
Adam Dunn, 330 career homers now. He's gone over 800 RBIs this year. 3-1 to Willingham. Good hitting count. And he'll take the walk. Nats have another base runner. First walk of the day issued by David Huff.
Well, and now Carlos Santana is going to go out and talk to David Huff and say, listen, we were getting away with that the first trip through. He was giving us that outside part of the plate. Now he's not giving it. You got to move it back in 2 to 4 inches, or you're just going to keep walking guys or giving up that massive home run to Dunn. So now they have to make a little adjustment.
So 11 pitches already this inning and not a hitter retired.
Well, if I was a right-handed hitter on our side, I would just crowd the plate a little bit more. I'd take about a 4-inch step in.
He hasn't knocked anybody back yet, has he?
Nope, he has not. He's staying away, away, away. Well, we got to hit it away.
Willingham doesn't run much. When running, Josh has been very good. 5 stolen bases in 5 attempts. Some good right-handed batters coming up here. Rodriguez and Morse, then Desmond. Short lead by Willingham. And Pudge went up hacking.
Well, and that's 11 home runs allowed by Huff this year in 63 innings.
Phillies are at Boston today trying to salvage a game of their weekend series, scoreless early. The Mets have 5 in the first at Baltimore today. And the Mets are trying to sweep the Orioles. Fastball just missing, low and away, 1-2.
Well, and this is also Santana. This is his 3rd major league start. He's got to start putting the glove over the plate. You can't just stay out there, stay out there. That's a good pitch. It's just 6 inches off the plate.
On a pitch up, downs to third and spinning, hit the edge of the grass and just spun into foul ground. Well, like a lot of young pitchers, evidently the numbers would tell you, intimidated a bit on the road. It's a common malady of young hurlers. 1-2 to Pudge. Well hit right field, slicing foul. Approaching the 2 o'clock hour here in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, where the Indians have won the first 2 games at Progressive Field. Bob Carpenter, Rob Dibble, and Byron Kerr on MASN 2 HD. Adam Dunn has scored both runs, one with a double and a Morse base hit. The other with his 14th homer. Washington leads 2-1. Rodriguez hits a double play ball. Turned by Valbuena. And Pudge Rodriguez has now hit into 12 double plays this year. One of the few times tonight that Huff has jammed a right-handed hitter.
Well, he jammed Zimmerman his last time up to get him to ground out or line out, excuse me, softly to Anderson Hernandez, and that one another one. So I don't know why Huff doesn't try to come in more on our righties. He keeps staying away. Got burned by Morse last time. Got pretty good stuff, this kid.
Indians lead the major leagues in double plays with 83 now. Base is empty for Michael Morse. Morse now batting .440. He's 11 for 25.
Well, we need to find a way to get him in the lineup almost every day.
You're reading my mind, partner. I was just about to say he's making a statement to whoever wants to listen that he should have more playing time and certainly more at bats.
Maybe even let him DH in the Detroit series. Just let him hit. See what he can do. You got some guys that aren't really doing too much with the sticks.
Tigers are throwing all right-handers in that series. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, and Jeremy Bonderman. So that might not happen. But when Mike's going well, I don't think it matters righty or lefty.
What are some of our lefties hitting? Willie Harris and some of the other guys. I mean,
Willie Harris is 2 for his last 22.
Ryan Zimmerman hits righties way better than lefties.
3-1 pitch. That ball is scorched and right at Shin-Soo Choo. Nats take the lead here in the top of the 4th on Adam Dunn's 14th homer. It took about 3 seconds to leave the ballpark. Nationals on top. Adam Dunn, a big day so far. Strasburg, 1 solo homer. I know chicks dig the long ball and strikeouts, but I kind of like that 8-pitch, 3 ground ball inning he just had.
Yeah, and that'll keep Steven in some ball games a little bit longer. I know that they're worried about his pitch count getting too high, and that's just because he's a max effort guy. It's not because we want this guy to pitch 90 innings. We just don't want to burn the kid out in his first year in the major leagues. But the less strikeouts and the more 5-7 pitch innings, no matter how he gets it done, just keep keeping him off the scoreboard. Give us an opportunity to win. That's why we got this guy and drafted him 1st overall.
Shin-Soo Choo struck out swinging first time up, leads off the 4th.
Somewhere in there, Bob, people forget there's a baseball game going on. It's not just like batting practice with Steven Strasburg, trying to win some ball games.
And by the way, folks, it is Strasburg.
I like when these guys mispronounce it.
I've been on so many radio shows this week where we've had to get into being hooked on phonics. Big breaking ball.
You and I have both asked him, how do you want your name pronounced? Strasburg.
There we go. Getting the big hook near the strike zone, and he's gotten Choo twice in similar fashion.
Beautiful delivery, repeats it so well, and the big thing is that he throws everything from that same slot, coming out of that 3/4 delivery slot, all of his pitches.
It's Carlos Santana. Hit the ball pretty well. Lined one right at Willingham in left field to end the 1st inning.
And that's what that Adralis Chapman with the Reds is working on, because he changes his arm position when he throws a breaking ball. And hitters are so good, they can pick that little idiosyncrasy up, and they want to iron that out before he gets to the major leagues.
Santana 2 for 8 as a young major leaguer. Hit his first career homer here last night. One-handed helicopter swing, 2-1.
Well, and there was the heavy sinker in the low 90s. In fact, that might be his changeup.
Yeah,
I think that was his changeup.
That's
pretty scary.
Really not fair.
No.
And he had him swinging at a pitch not in the zone.
Yeah, that was 100. And see, because you can't really trust some of the scoreboard radar guns. You can trust that the hitters let you know how you're throwing. And that's the one thing with Strasburg. That whether that was a 2-seam or 4-seam, that just had a lot of giddy up on it.
And a backdoor breaking ball that stays outside.
Now go upstairs with that fastball.
Light that hitter's eyes up, huh?
Yeah, he's had 8 at-bats in the big leagues.
Borderline call, and Steven Strasburg's first career walk. It took nearly 11 innings for that to happen.
Well, and as loose as Onora's strike zone's been, that's a pretty good pitch.
Right where Pudge's glove is, as we can see on the pitch track.
Great sinking, riding fastball away from Santana. But you have one guy in his second major league start and one catcher in his third major league start. He'll get plenty of those outside calls.
Here's Hafner, who on a changeup homered first time up.
Yeah, just blow this guy away. He's got a slow bat. He's just looking for you to hit it.
Well, the one thing the Indians do not do much is bounce into double plays. 30 fewer than their opponents. And Hafner, of course, mostly a fly ball hitter. Nats have Guzman and Desmond up the middle today. Marlins are just underway at Tampa Bay. Rubber game of that series. The Marlins a half game up on the Nats in the East.
And here's another thing too for our scouts that are scouting some of these teams. Strasburg doesn't have the same normal stuff as any other pitcher on our staff. So you can't say, well, this guy's a good fastball hitter, this guy's a good curveball hitter. You know,
yeah,
he's off the charts. So against guys on other teams, they don't have Strasburgs on their team. You know, maybe Ubaldo Jimenez, and if you're scouting him against people and he's shutting everybody down, that's one thing. But so when they asked him after his first start, well, what reports you going? There are no reports for Strasburg. He can just go out there with his stuff alone and get people out right now.
2-2.
Now, once he gets his own file cabinet or his own Rolodex, and that's something John Smoltz told him to do. John Smoltz said, start a journal. Start writing this stuff down now so that 5 years from now, if you face some of these guys again or go to a different league or something like that, you have that book. But nobody else is going to have the same book as Strasburg.
2-2 pitch. Big breaking ball stays outside. He goes in another long count here. Former Nat Austin Kearns on deck. Runner going. Another walk. That looked like a changeup that really went outside. And Strasburg walks 2 in a row. Now he'll face a right-handed batter who homered his first 2 times in this series.
Well, it's only natural that you kind of pitch around a guy who just took you deep. He's looking at the mound on this pitch, but he may have tried to shorten it up and throw a changeup. Bottom line is, giving Hafner way too much credit. That's something that he's got to pile up starts at this level to where he's just like, you know what, here it is, hit it.
2 on, 1 out. Austin Kearns 0 for 7 since those homers on Friday night. Got him to commit for a breaking ball strike. Another hitter thinking after 2 walks he was going to get a first pitch fastball.
And that's the beauty of having a future Hall of Fame catcher back there.
Kearns more than half of his power here in the month of June. Another breaking ball. Strasburg calls it a slurve. And a fastball right by him, foul tipped. Strike two.
Well, and as he gets more confidence at this level, he'll be challenging more hitters like Austin Kearns and Hafner. He'll realize that their bat speed's right on his changeup, not on his fastball.
Right by him. Strikeout victim number 6. So in 3 different innings, Steven has struck out 2 Indians hitters. And he'll face Russell Branyan here in a moment.
Let's give you the pitch sequence right here. He's going to start him off with a breaking ball away. Down in the dirt, he swings at it. Another one away. Fastball in. He's going to throw another or actually that was a sinker to strike him out on. So 2 low 90s, mid 90s sinkers to strike out Kearns.
Left-handed Branyan struck out on a breaking ball low first time.
But
Change-up, first pitch.
I like their thinking because it wasn't just going for the strikeout. They were going for the ground ball double play. And that's just a good thought process for Strasburg.
How many guys can go for a ground ball and still strike people out?
Not many.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to gain that confidence and not think, well, I'm just trying to strike guys out. He's going to strike guys out just because they're going to get themselves out.
Wow. And that was only 94, evidently. After that changeup, it looked a lot harder than that. I think our eyes were telling us, Rob, that was high 90s.
I go by the scoreboard gun, which was up around 99. Like I said before, it doesn't matter what the gun says, it's the hitters. And, you know, you see the bad swings. Chu, one of the hottest hitters in the league, or Austin Kearns, who has a couple of home runs in the series. They have to look 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and whatever they get after that, they got to be good enough to adjust to it and try to put wood on it. Now, that was the 90-mile-an-hour changeup.
Having a hard time commanding the changeup, with the exception
So you may want to go away from it.
of his first pitch to Branyan here.
He's only human. You can't have command every time you take the mound of all 4 pitches. It's not going to be humanly possible. I think his best pitch today is that mid-90s sinker. Yeah. It's just the movement is amazing on it.
Two-two pitch.
It couldn't have felt real good around a 100-mile-an-hour fastball on his hands.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing. So I was watching Russell Branyan. He was not about to let anybody know how that felt. He just walked out of the box like it was a routine foul ball. I don't think he's feeling too good right now.
I think that top hand thumb is probably barking right now.
And a fastball right by him. A no-contact 4th inning with 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. 7 Ks for Strasburg. Nats lead 2-1. Nationals baseball on MASN, brought to you by Grown Ups. There they are, in theaters June 25th. Downtown Cleveland. Quicken Loans Arena, right outside the left field corner here at Progressive Field. And the top of the 5th coming around. We have some AT&T trivia for you. Which rookie pitcher in since 2000 the most Ks in a single season? Wow. That was about the time when Rick Ankiel was a rookie.
I think it was Matsuzaka.
Yeah.
I think he had over 100 walks too, but I think he had like 175 strikeouts.
Well, from an age standpoint, he sure was more mature as a rookie than those other guys.
He wasn't really a rookie. Technically, he was.
I think I'll go with Matt Cain just So you and I have something else to argue about.
Just for giggles, yeah.
Here's Ian Desmond, flied to right his first time. And David Huff turns one over on him, down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. By the way, a footnote on Strasburg before it gets away from us. When he struck out the first 2 batters of the game today, he became the 5th major league pitcher in the last 10 seasons to strike out 9 batters in a row. Remember, he fanned his last 7 on Tuesday. Joining Joaquin Benoit, Ricky Nolasco, Jake Peavy, and Eric Gagne. Gagne actually struck out 10 straight over a 4-day period, closing games for the Dodgers. And only Johnny Cueto had more strikeouts to start a career before walking a batter than Strasburg. Steven had 19. Johnny Cueto had 22 before his first walk 2 years ago. Steven Strasburg has opened up new career opportunities for statisticians.
Now let's not miss the bottom line, which is trying to get wins.
2-1 Nats, top of the 5th. Desmond swings through that one. And for Huff, his 4th strikeout of the day. Day off tomorrow, on to face the Tigers at Comerica Park. Night games Tuesday, Wednesday, a matinee on Thursday. John Lennon, Max Scherzer Tuesday. Levon Hernandez, Justin Verlander, who can really bring it on Wednesday. Luis Adelano and Jeremy Bonderman Thursday, before it's back home against the White Sox and the Royals. Deep short off the bat of Gonzalez. Used to play some ball alongside Anderson Hernandez, who throws him out. 2 quick ones here in the 5th. Next Saturday, by the way, is nationally televised. Don't forget to make a special note of the first pitch time, 4:10 next Saturday at Nationals Park. Not officially announced yet, but we are anticipating Strasburg's next start to be Friday night against the White Sox. Even though there is a day off tomorrow. Guzman 1 for 2. Line drive to second for an out. Line drive to the left of the shortstop for that base hit. That broke a 1 for 20. Coming into this inning, 61 pitches, 44 strikes for David Huff, who wasn't flashing very good control numbers this year. 3 walks for every 4 strikeouts. Guzman hits it hard to right. Some of the balls hit so well, carrying a right to the outfielders. Nats have lined out about 5 times today. Halfway through the game, 2-1 Washington. 50. Here's our game summary. It is halfway through here at Nationals Park. And by the way, Steven Strasburg, will tell you about this real quickly. They're going to do some repair work on the landing area as we show you the game summary. He's been looking down there, and now the crew chief, Jerry Crawford's going to have them do some landscaping. And Adam Dunn, Hafner, the big shots today for the offense, but Strasburg has not started his warm-up tosses yet because we have a problem with the pitcher's mound here.
What, did the groundskeepers get the rest of the day off?
Well, they're trying to get somebody's attention in the Cleveland dugout to work on that landing area. And Rob, explain why that is so important.
Well, it's critical because he could slip and hurt himself, hurt his knee, hurt an ankle. You just don't want that to happen. And the thing is,
they're looking for the head groundskeeper.
Okay, see where he's landing right here? Well, so is David Huff. David Huff lands at almost the identical spot, but maybe just off a little bit. And so now they just want to fill in that hole because he doesn't want to fall into a hole. Some mounds are a little bit steeper than others, especially that incline. And you want to be comfortable knowing, I mean, some guys even shorten up the way they step on their changeups. And that's what slows down their arm just a hair to take a little bit more off. And in his case, he does need to try to slow things down.
So Steve will play some leisurely toss with Rodriguez. While he's waiting and we're waiting, let's have a look at what's happened so far today. 7 Ks, Rob, 6 of them swinging.
Well, he's had a great sinker and a great fastball all day. And there you saw the 100-mile-an-hour heat up high. There you see the sinking fastball on Chu. Great breaking ball right there against Branyan. Another good breaking ball against Peralta, just freezes him. And as you said, there's another good breaking ball on the swing and another sinker against Kearns, and then the four-seam fastball right by Russell Branyan. So really it's an assortment of movement at different velocities, and he's just outstanding.
Brooklyn Dodger Carl Spooner, most strikeouts in the first 2 games, and Strasburg has a chance to eclipse that. More recent guys in the 60s, about like Gary Nolan, Tom Griffin, J.R. Richard, the great Astro who left this world way too soon.
And by the way,
and Tim Hudson.
Take that top one off the graphic because that was with a 15-inch mound. So was Gary Nolan. That was a 15-inch mound.
That's right. That's
so
right.
You might as well just burn those right now. They don't count.
All right. Now, a lot of us MASN folks, we do our weekly blogs on MASNsports.com. I did one on Strasburg last week, and then one of our fellow mates on the website wrote in and said, did you know that a Washington Senator has the all-time record for strikeouts in a game?
Doesn't matter.
I did not know that.
But it was off a 15-inch mound.
Well, I know.
Well, so that's not modern-day baseball.
Well,
so
it was
really doesn't matter.
Yeah, 1962, but he struck out 21 in one game, Rob. That's not the remarkable thing. Tom Chaney, in a 2-1 win over Baltimore, struck out 21 Orioles. He pitched 16 innings and threw 228 pitches. His agent would be filing a lawsuit against the ball club if that happened. But that is still, like it or not, the major league record for one game, and nobody, of course, will ever pitch 16 innings. Tom Chaney from Rome, Georgia, of the Washington Senators.
Well, let's talk about things that are present, and Steven Strasburg, how he grips the ball. Let's kind of go through that while we have a chance. Let's show you the four-seam fastball grip. And by four-seam, when it rotates backwards, all four seams are rotating back. And look at the size of his middle finger. He gets almost all the way around the ball on that one. Two-seam, sinker, low to mid-90s, and only he and Jimenez feature that pitch right now in the major leagues, and he actually holds it. It's kind of a hybrid. Most guys hold it in between the two seams. He's on the seam with his middle finger. Here's the slider. Very common grip. Get that middle finger, get the seam on the outside part, and then you throw it over the top and you pull down towards your left knee. And then the circle change, maybe one of the hardest in the major leagues right now at 90+ miles an hour. And there you see the circle finger right there on the inside and two up top. And you have the same arm speed as a fastball, but the grip slows it down.
Well, we have seen several instances in the early innings when Steven, after a pitch, was looking down at the landing area. Evidently to his satisfaction and that of the crew chief, Jerry Crawford, things have been fixed.
I can honestly tell you that things that will affect Strasburg more than his opponent at times. The mound, the ball, and his uniform. And depending on one of those three, and the mound seems to be the one thing today that seems to be bothering him, he's not so much worried about what he's doing as how he feels as he's moving forward in this game.
How does a guy's uniform bother him?
Oh, it could be too tight around the waist, around the groin. I mean, especially those throwback uniforms, those aren't custom made. They're just taking your measurements from spring training, throwing it into uniform, and they're not really tailored, so they don't fit properly. Thus, the one time I blew that save and gave up the 3-run home run to Bonilla, I ripped the jersey off.
Johnny Peralta down the line, just foul.
I had blown 2 saves that year, and that was the 3rd one, and all 3 were in throwback uniforms. So you know how superstitious I was. It just peeved me.
Yeah. Was there a bonfire in the clubhouse?
No, they actually, well, pretty much what I did to the clubhouse, but after I destroyed the clubhouse
a demolition derby?
The Mets sent me a bill for the damage, but they were nice enough to send me the jersey that I had thrown on the ground. And they said, your son might want this one day. So I will always have a soft spot for the Mets organization because of that. I mean, they could have taken it and done what the Astros did to my glove, which is cut it into little pieces.
Rob Dibble, thank you.
Classier than that.
Thank you so much. You've finally given us a reason after all these years to like the Mets for something. And a 1-2 fastball up and away.
I can honestly say the Mets have always been great to me.
Okay.
They were great to my family. Any amount of tickets I needed when my family came down from Connecticut, they were one of the best hosts I can ever say for my family.
Fastball thrown by Peralta. First out of the 5th inning, strikeout number 8.
This is just a question now. He's starting to feel his oats a little bit, that he knows his fastball is better than the bat speed of some of these hitters in the Indians lineup.
And by the way, Rob, strikeout number 8 Tuesday night came as the last out in the 5th inning. And here's Luis Valbuena, who bounced out to Adam Dunn first time up. He shows bunt. That's a strike. I think Brian Onora called that a bunt attempt for a swing. And Valbuena wants to know why. Gonzalez was coming in from third.
I always love when a guy hitting 168 starts arguing a call. If you were so proficient, you'd be hitting around 320.
Now the Nats will appeal that one. And Jerry Crawford says that's a swing.
And now he's going to clear out of Jerry Crawford.
Man, he's really unhappy now.
Man, are you just digging yourself a hole?
The dreaded check swing. The Nats finally get a call. And he goes fastball, misses upstairs. By the way, Strasburg's pitch count coming into this 5th inning, 63 pitches, 39 strikes.
That was a 91-mile-an-hour changeup. Now remember, he's throwing at the same arm speed as his 100-mile-an-hour heater. He's just gripping it with a circle on the inside portion of the ball.
So all the action's the same, right?
Yeah,
that's the key.
The action's the key, and right there, 100-mile-an-hour jam shot.
Desmond with the call, and Strasburg overpowered the left-handed batter. Anderson Hernandez coming up next. Let's pay off our AT&T trivia.
We must be wrong because they usually come back quick when we're right.
Since 2000, rookie pitcher with the most strikeouts.
Ha ha ha!
You got it.
Dice K. See, that's why they call him Dice K. 201 Ks.
Yeah.
And that's a guy who throws the kitchen sink at you.
Yeah, those were not heaters, huh?
No, he has a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but he chooses to throw screwballs. He calls it the gyro ball. And that's one he turns over, and then he's got just curve balls and everything. But he felt some tightness in his forearm in the warm-ups yesterday and had to be scratched and then immediately put on the disabled list. But he had been throwing the ball quite well.
Yeah, and then the Red Sox went out and scored double-figure runs against the Phillies again. Big breaking ball low. Mets now 5-3 at Baltimore, top of the 3rd. They've won 3 in a row. They're only a game and a half behind the Braves, and Atlanta leads 4-0. They just got 4 in the 1st at Minnesota. Strasburg just hanging around that outside corner, but not getting it close enough for strike calls. Bases empty, 2 outs here in the 5th. Unhappy with himself on that one. Still checking that landing area. Rob, how different are mounds from ballpark to ballpark?
Not very. It depends on the clay, and this looks like a really nice mound. Looks like some nice clay underneath there.
Missing again. To a banjo hitter. You would just hope that Strasburg would pump fastballs for strikes in there and throw them by Anderson Hernandez, who walks, and he's the tying run aboard with 2 outs.
Remember, I told you about comfort levels, and he might not feel that comfortable, or he might be even exhausted at this point. It's humid, it's hot and muggy. We're not really giving him an awful lot of time in between innings. We're just going up there and only had 4 hits, and one of them's been a home run. So we're in and we're out, and he's back there on the field.
Good point. Trevor Crowe, a strikeout and a ground ball to second. And Strasburg pitches to the 3rd hitter today off the stretch. He's walked 3, struck out 8. And a bunt. Here comes Gonzalez. Bare hand. Plenty of time.
Nice play.
Good play. Replacing Ryan Zimmerman today and playing it just as well, almost, as the Gold Glover. On to the 6th inning. Some offense would help. The defense good right there. 2-1 Nats.
Welcome back to Cleveland. Nationals leading the Indians 2-1 here in the 6th inning. How big is Strasburg mania? Even in Cleveland here, they've dedicated an entire merchandise stand to Strasburg memorabilia in section 164. Already sold out of the t-shirts for adults, medium and large, but Rob and Bob got a good deal for you. An early Father's Day special Strasburg jersey, only $75 at the stand right now.
Wow. We know that's not the official game jersey.
Ooh, Onora got it right in the throat.
Those cost a couple of $100. And on Niger Morgan's bunt, that one gets Brian Onora, and he is hurting. That's a collarbone right there. Trying to move that left arm to make sure he still has some mobility on that side of his upper body.
Well, I was in 2 different ball games with Bruce Froemming, and 2 different times he broke his collarbone. One time I was at the plate. It wasn't my fault. The catcher didn't touch it. I didn't touch it.
Brian Onora is a big man, and that staggered him.
Well, that's a stinger, man. If that gets behind or away from where that chest protector is, that's going to hurt.
Let's have a look at our Nationals in-game box score while Brian Onora gets things back together. Not a lot of hits, to say the least.
Nope, not a lot of action by the Nationals.
Adam Dunn's the big man today. 2 for 2, double homer. By the way, Adam Dunn came into this game 3rd in the league in total bases with 124, and he's racked up 6 more of them today with 2 bags on the double and then the 4-bagger out of the ballpark. So he's right up there with the most prolific hitters in the league, and he right now leads the league in total bases.
Well, and by the way, the Indians have 1 hit, and it was off of Hafner's home run.
Niger Morgan gets jammed. They were playing him way around to right center. That's a right fielder, Chu, catching a ball where usually a center fielder would catch it.
And David Huff, almost as good, has given up 4 hits and 2 runs.
Yeah.
We're into the 6th inning.
Total bases, though, one of those stats some baseball fans don't pay a lot of attention to, Rob.
No, that's
but,
a good.
But it's indicative of how many extra base hits you have. You get a lot of doubles and home runs, and Adam Dunn has 130 total bases. Robinson Cano of the Yankees, 148.
Well, and Robinson Cano's working on an MVP in New York right now and goes relatively unnoticed a lot because of Teixeira, A-Rod, Jeter, etc. I've said this before, and I said this to you last year. I think that's one of the best second basemen in the business right now. His range is phenomenal.
Hitting .371 starting this day.
Last second baseman I saw with that kind of range was Robbie Alomar.
Showed some of that here.
Yeah, you can get lost in that New York lineup.
I think flying under the radar up there is a good thing. 3-0 now to Zimmerman, with a big problem standing on deck for David Huff. How big?
6'6", 290. That's what I heard someone yell out from the crowd the other day.
He's not that heavy. Zimmerman on 3-0 is going to fly out easily to right center field. Not exactly the 3-0 pitch that Ryan would usually be letting one fly. Geico highlights Mr. Dunn.
Well, started off his day, plate coverage, going outside, getting an outside pitch and pulling it for a double, and then the inside breaking ball that should have been low and away was high and in, and now that's high and in the second deck here at Progressive Field.
Here's Dunn, who's 2 for 2. I was watching the catcher, Rob, after the home run. He was not standing on home plate that time. One collision with Adam Dunn is enough for anybody. Boy, he's seeing the ball so well. 2-0. He's just not biting on pitches off the plate.
We would say he's spitting on those.
Yeah,
I don't mean literally. He's just tracking them and letting them go by.
Well, these days, if Mr. Dunn doesn't swing, it's not a strike. That's how well he's going. Could he have the green light on 3-0 if he sees a cookie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not even close.
Adam Dunn will take his 32nd walk of the year.
That's one battle David Huff smartly avoided.
At one time this year, Adam was walked more than any hitter in the league. He's not even in the top 10 anymore because he's been hacking so well.
Hey,
Josh Willingham is in the top 10 with 43 walks.
We're not complaining that Adam's not walking.
I like it.
I think he should swing more. I don't mind if he strikes out a few more times.
Well, you and I were crying about that when he was walking all the time and not putting the ball in play. We like the new aggressive Adam Dunn.
Well, and look at his batting average. It shot up 40 points.
Here's Josh Willingham, 0 for 8 in the series, walked last time, and then he raced on the Pudge Rodriguez double play grounder.
I mean, when some of our other guys aren't swinging it and they're not getting on base, we'll take any base runner we can get. If Adam's got to do it, we'll take Adam.
Josh just does not look comfortable in the batter's box right now.
He just doesn't like this guy. I mean, I think it's just David Huff.
0-2 again. Struck out, fastball away, second inning, pardon me. First time up, and he does get a piece of that one off the mask of Santana.
So Nora and Santana taking a beating this inning.
2-1 ball game. Nats have only had 4 hits. The Indians 1. Pudge, if the inning continues. Pitch number 85 coming. They're going to jam him. And Willingham turns on it into the corner.
Your horse. Let's go.
Adam Dunn will hustle into third. Willingham a double. Wow. He got a pitch that was hanging up high and knew what to do with it. And a big spot now for Pudge Rodriguez.
I guess Adam was riding a Clydesdale around the bases.
Hard to score him from first unless it's deep in a gap.
That's a shot on a bad 0-2 pitch right here by David Huff up in the zone. We've told you anything from the center to inside on Josh Willingham. Sometimes it's a home run on that, but he just got on top of it so much. Drove it down the line.
Hey, well, sometimes when you're slumping a bit, Rob, you need the other guy to make a mistake, and Josh Willingham is a very good mistake hitter.
Well,
it helps.
It's almost though in a way he's not slumping. He does not want to chase that outside pitch. And I understand that he's being patient and he's taking a lot of walks, but sometimes you have to expand the whole field of vision and start going from center field to the left field line. Okay, now I'm going to go from the left fielder to maybe right center or even the right fielder.
Two on, 2 out. Rodriguez, the hitter. Pudge has struck out, hit into a double play. He's been clutch this year, 17 RBIs. And there's a base hit to left center.
That'll bring them both.
That'll score 2. RBI total shoots up to 19. And Pudge Rodriguez, a huge hit in the middle of the game here. 4-1 Nationals.
Well, there's no harder worker on this team. I went to work out yesterday. He was down there with his personal trainer doing everything for his back. He knows how much this team needs him out there. And I think it's come heck or high water. He's not going to get Strasburg every 5 days. But for the selfish Nationals like myself and yourself, we need him in there offensively too.
The 2-out walk to Adam Dunn.
Huge.
The Willingham double. He was behind in the count 0-2. And Rodriguez makes it sting the Indians here.
I don't know what Tim Belcher told him, but it wasn't the right thing.
And the Indian bullpen busy with Frank Herman. Michael Morse has hit 2 line drives to right field, 1 for a base hit, the other one caught. So he's went up there with a real good idea against this left-hander both times.
Well, in that time, I think Pudge knew Belcher was going out there to say, okay, you've been throwing this guy away, maybe try to come in on him. Recognized it coming on the inside, and he just drilled it to left center field.
Boy, that's a beautiful thing when you can read other people's minds, isn't it?
Not read his mind, but read their thought process on him. And that's a veteran.
20 years behind the plate will help you get to that point. Not many have that longevity.
Well, being a lifetime .299 hitter, too, that helps, because you won't give him the 300.
I told you he's hitting over 300 now. He's .299 into the season. You accuse me of living in the past. Come on. 2-1 to Morse. But you would hope if the Strasburg pitch count, which is at 79, gets pretty high, Rob, and he only goes 6, maybe 7, you want to have a sizable lead when he departs. And this is a whole lot different than 2-1. He's at 79 pitches, 47 strikes. He threw 94 in 7 innings on Tuesday. And by the way, I thought he did a really nice job on the top 10 list too the other day.
On Letterman?
Yeah, it was good. Claiming he scored the winning goal for the Blackhawks in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Well,
that was pretty fun.
That'll be it for David Huff, and he had a pretty good day going until this inning.
A 2-out walk to a hitter who had done lots of damage against him. He's walked 2 in this inning, given up 6 hits, 4 runs to this point, and he struck out 4. He is done. And in the 6th inning, the Nats are into the Indians bullpen. Nationals 4, Indians 1, top of the 6th inning. A big Pudge Rodriguez double here. Next Sunday, you can enjoy the Sunday Family Fun Pack at Nationals Park. For $14 a seat for the ball game, a hot dog, chips, and a soda. Visit nationals.com/kids to purchase your Family Fun Pack tickets. It'll be the Nationals and the Chicago White Sox next Sunday. '26-year-old right-hander Frank Herman, a rookie for the Tribe. 4 1/3 innings at the big league level. He's given up 2 hits, no runs so far. Indians signed him as a non-drafted free agent 4 years ago out of Rutherford, New Jersey. And he played 3 years at Harvard. I got a pitch up, and Desmond rams it to center. That ball is off the glove of Crow. 2 more runs will score. Desmond digging for 3. And the Nationals have a 5-run lead. Ian Desmond continues his good hitting with runners in scoring position, and his RBI total shoots up to 33.
Well, he just hits the heck out of that pitch up in the zone. Very aggressive swinger. Crow tries to make a great play on this ball. Looks like he took a kind of a straight route to the ball, which put the ball over his head. Had to reach back, couldn't make the play. See him come in. And that little bit of a bad route cost him the play.
All 6 runs charged to David Huff. So the book is closed on him. 6 runs on 6 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts in 5 2/3. And Alberto Gonzalez will try to chase Desmond home from third. That Desmond kid has a knack for getting big hits. He's been one of the Nationals' best in clutch hitting this year. Breaking ball, Gonzalez broke his bat. Peralta at third, and the Nats will put 4 on the board in the top of the 6th inning. Steven Strasburg will take the mound with a big lead. So the Nats have a big lead now of 5 runs. Bottom of the 6th coming up. 8 strikeouts for Steven Strasburg. Big hit by Desmond. And Rob, here they are.
Well, one of the poor hitting teams in the American League. You would think he'd have a good follow-up to his first career Major League start, and he's doing just that, Bob. Great breaking stuff. There you see some off-speed stuff by Strauss. Big breaking ball freezes Peralta. You can see another good breaking ball right there on Chu, who's not an easy out. And he's going to throw some hard sinkers to Kearns. That's just straight cheese right by you at about 100. Another straight cheese ball right by Peralta again. So kid's feeling pretty good about his second start.
And the only thing to really show up on the box score, the Travis Hafner leadoff homer in the 2nd. Roger Bernardina takes over for Michael Morse in right field. Jim Riggleman going to his defense early here. Strasburg misses away to Shin Soo Chu, who he has struck out twice.
Well, see how he deals with the long offensive onslaught there by the Nationals. He had to sit in the dugout an awfully long time.
You would think it came at a good time of the game, Rob, after you mentioned he was out there so much after some quick innings.
Yep.
On a 2-0 pitch, a fly ball to left center for Niger Morgan. He'll take 3 pitch outs the rest of the day if he can get them. Log on to chili'sbaseball.com. You might win yourself a VIP baseball trip. It's all in the preparation at Chili's. Drew Storen, the fact that he's throwing and the Nats have a 5-run lead might be all the indication you need that this will be a 6-inning day for Strasburg.
Remember, it's not as much a pitch count, Bob, as it is an inning count. They don't want to run his innings over 160, 170, and they're basing that on Felix Hernandez. They're basing that on Tim Lincecum in their first full years in the big leagues. Even Rick Porcello last year, they shut him down after a certain amount of innings pitched.
And the 0-1 to Santana. Breaking ball missing, low and in.
I think you would agree his 95, 100 pitches are a little bit more maximum effort than, say, Levon's 95 or 100.
Levon would have to throw 250 to equal that. Levon's playing catch out there. Sounded like a broken bat, and the Indians have their second base hit.
Great pitch right here, up a little bit. Breaks Santana's bat. That's a big, strong kid they just called up. So he had to work for that one.
Santana 3 for 9 as a big league hitter with a couple of walks. He may be here to stay. And here's Hafner, who has homered and walked today. Braves now lead 5-0, third inning at Minnesota. Marlins Rays 1-1 in the 4th, and the Phillies have a 4-1 lead at Boston in the 5th inning. Leading off the 2nd, Travis Hafner deep here on a changeup.
Well, it's a 90-mile-an-hour changeup right on the bat of Travis Hafner, and he went down and in on a lefty. Very dangerous even for Travis Hafner.
Steven obviously not the command he had on Tuesday night. Still unhappy evidently with the landing area down there.
Well, and McCaddy's going to go talk to him and see if he feels like he's getting tired, if he's laboring. Remember, he's only 21 years old. Got a lot of stuff going on. And like I said, not happy with the mound.
All right, Rob, AA, AAA major leagues. We talked about the major league mounds. Is there a difference in the upper minor leagues before you get here?
There shouldn't really be the minor leagues have so many great ballparks now, Bob. There shouldn't really be a big difference between this mound and other mounds. It's more of the guy that you're facing off with. Huff is a big kid too, and he was landing in the same area. And a lefty's going to land maybe a little bit more off to the side than your landing zone. And so they're just kind of fighting each other where that big hole is at the end of the mound. And you see it right here. This big area, that's getting to Steven because he falls differently than he's accustomed to. It's nobody's fault. It's just a lefty versus a righty.
Byron Kerr, what have you heard down there?
The Nats, rather the Indians ground crew was down in the well with me after they came off, and I said, how did it look? And he says, well, just like Rob said, both are hitting the same hole, and due to the daytime, the humidity during the daytime, they say that it gets a lot more choppy there during the day versus a night game.
It is muggy. That humidity in the 70% range most of the weekend here. And a 3-1, he misses. Another walk. 4 on the day by Steven Strasburg. Maybe getting close to the end of the line here. Austin Kearns is next.
That is the end of the line.
Jim Riggleman coming out to make a double switch. His day will end having given up only 2 hits. And they're going to boo Jim Riggleman for taking his pitcher out here.
Well, it's not his fault. On that last shot of him, he slipped. I'd take him out of the game, too.
Here comes the ground crew again to work on this mound. Well, maybe this isn't an official visit to take him out. Although Riggleman did walk to the home plate umpire first, usually indicating a double switch. We'll just have to wait and see, but it doesn't look like Steven's coming out just yet.
Well, if you don't put down some clay and then wet it down, it's not going to stick, and he's slipping. So that's way dangerous. This is as scary a thing as you will ever see. A young kid as valuable as Strasburg is, and that arm, and he slips and falls. Watch this slip right at the end. Watch his leg go right down, and he straightens up. So great camera work, great shot, guys. And that's exactly what I was talking about. One little slip right there. I don't even want to think about it. So just get the mount fixed.
Just beyond the 3 o'clock hour here in Cleveland, Ohio. Bottom of the 6th inning. A lot of ball to be played yet here today at Progressive Field. Nationals lead the Indians 6-1. Bob Carpenter, Rob Dibble, Byron Kerr, MASN 2 HD. So the mound is the issue. 2 men on with 1 out. The hitter is Austin Kearns. Boy, and you don't want your pitcher even thinking about his landing
and
when he's got so much else to deal with.
Changing his mechanics and anything. All that stuff's involved.
Now Kearns last time made a commitment on that same pitch.
Well, if you're not 100% sure of your landing zone, it's going to throw you off your game.
Two and 0.
He's got to try to get it out of his head and just attack the hitter now. Remember, I've talked about this. When you get the feeling and it's on you and your mechanics and the mound and you're not worried about the hitter, there you go. It's just such a mental game at this level.
Two balls and a strike to Kearns. Ball 3. And even whether it's left-handed or right-handed batters, Strasburg losing everything to that side of the plate today.
He's flying open a little bit. And now a guy that we talk about how great his mechanics are, he's even getting frustrated.
Walk number 5, and the bases are loaded.
And that'll do it.
So Steven Strasburg will walk 5 batters today, strike out 8. He'll last just 5 1/3. Obviously issues with landing on this mound in Cleveland, and he'll leave. Some of the Cleveland fans boo him because he had the audacity to have their grounds crew come out and fix a broken pitcher's mound. Steven Strasburg not at all happy about having to come out under such circumstances. So here's his day. Only 2 hits. But now 5 walks, 2 of them in this inning. The bases are loaded with 1 out. And Drew Storen, whose rise to the major leagues has matched that of Strasburg's, takes over against a tough left-handed batter here, Russell Brandon. Not going to be a whole lot of drop off in velocity here or stuff.
No, and this is what your bullpen is there for. When you run into trouble, and today's first sign of trouble for Strasburg in a couple of starts. Now it's up to Storen and the rest of the bullpen to pick him up. Protecting a 5-run lead. You got a lot of latitude right here to work with. So now it's Drew Storen's turn to get in there and do some work.
Storen with a 1.74 ERA. Opponents hitting .200 against him in his first 11 major league appearances.
Once again, Pudge pounding his glove on the inside half of the plate before the pitch, trying to deke Brandon, and then he goes away with the fastball. With Pudge talking to Brandon.
Yeah. It's all about the hitter hearing where the mid is.
It's like Major League. Yeah, let's see what he feels good about today.
All these pitches to choose from.
Yep.
He said. 0-2 now.
He felt good about the number 1.
Inherited runners stranded. That's the most meaningful stat there is for a relief pitcher.
Doing great. Hasn't allowed someone else's run to score.
And a breaking ball. Right, and had to move his back foot. Santana on your upper left, the only man who hit his way aboard here in the 6th. Three and 2. Man, what is going on with that side of the plate today?
Well, guys just aren't finishing their pitches. You got to throw it right through the catcher.
And Cleveland has a real chance to get right back in the game here. You have to make him put this ball in play or strike him out. It's got to be a strike. He got a pop up.
Come on,
Gonzalez.
Gonzo. Come on, Gonzo.
He
got it.
But did a fan touch it in between?
Yeah, that should be a fan interference right there. That's fan interference.
Now Jim Riggleman is already out of the dugout.
That should be an out.
And Jerry Crawford is saying the ball was out of play.
No way.
Now the replay will watch it. If Gonzalez made contact with the ball first, then how could the ball be ruled out of play?
This is an out.
It appeared he got a glove on it. I don't think they do replays for pop fouls.
Well, here he comes. He's coming over. He's going to have to fight the fans and the wall right there.
The fan touched it first. That could easily have been called fan interference for an out.
Oh, I think we found Bartman. He's in Cleveland.
And Jerry Crawford, standing 5 feet away, doesn't see it.
Oh, Steve Bartman. I can't believe it. All right, got to go back to work and get this guy now. Got him.
Popped him up. I don't think any fans can reach this one. Guzman under it, infield fly in effect, and a big second out. Gutsy at bat for the pitcher, Drew Storen.
Just come out cold out of the bullpen. He comes in smoking 96. Another one in there. Another heater up high. And another heater up high. Another one way up high. And then he comes back down a little bit, gets him to pop up foul. And he's got great velocity up in the zone, and Brandon can't catch up to it.
Next up is Johnny Peralta, who Strasburg struck out twice. Front door slider. Strasburg and Storen, names that should be linked for a long, long time. Fastball by him. Johnny Peralta very good in these situations in his career, but a pitcher he's never seen before at a count of 0-2. Nationals with a big 4-run spot in the top of the 6th. 2 men who walked, scored, huge inning, especially now.
You know who we need? We need to trade for Daniel Herrera to come in after Strasburg. Flip those little 82-mile-an-hour curveballs up there. That'd be a great differential.
I kind of like this guy's gas.
He throws a lot like Strasburg, although that breaking ball's in the mid to upper 80s. I like that. You got a guy from Harvard on the mound for the Indians, and you got a guy from Stanford on the mound for the Nationals.
Man, those catchers must feel silly when they go out there. Storen with a strikeout. Strasburg and Storen. How about those 2 arms that have come up to the big leagues for the Nats in the last couple of weeks? On to the 7th inning. It's still 6-1 Washington. Well, Steven Strasburg, despite some control troubles, will only give up 1 run today. So, Rob, I think this is a great example, and even some veteran pitchers try to master this, how to keep the other team down off the board when you don't have your best stuff or the best conditions on that day.
Yeah, you're going to have to battle a lot, and it was almost like Steven Strasburg beat Steven Strasburg out there. He started to battle his emotions. We saw a little bit of that, a little frustration in this second start, and also a little problem with the mound. So yeah, he had to battle a little adversity and came up a little bit short with the 5 walks.
And then Drew Storen comes in, does a fantastic job. It's so great to see arms like that come up through your ranks and make it to the big leagues.
Well, and our offense really got us off the schneid tonight this afternoon, getting that big blowout inning that we've been looking for all trip so far. The first couple of games didn't score an awful lot of runs, and then Ian Desmond with the 2-out double right here, actually triple, excuse me, over the head of Crow. Crow makes a nice attempt, can't get it, so that 5-run cushion with the bases loaded really helped Drew Storen get out of a jam and help his buddy out and keep. That's 12 for 12 now. Inherited runners. None have scored when Storen comes in the game.
Rafael Perez for the Indians. Top of the 7th arrives. Top of the order for the Nats. Guzman, Morgan, and Zimmerman. Rafael Perez, pretty good job. Only 2 of his 13 inherited runners have come around to score.
Well, and I know a lot of people are going to critique Strasburg's outing. It's just baseball. That happens. Some days it's raining. Look at Jimenez against Ricky Romero up in Colorado the other day. Sometimes the environment is more of an opponent than the hitters.
Christian Guzman has hit the ball hard twice today, lined out twice, and has a base hit. How about
look out.
2 for 4, and Rafael Perez spun out of the box. Yikes.
Watch your lips. Woo. Well, we talked about David Huff catching a line drive off the head from Alex Rodriguez, and that is just a seed right back up the middle.
Guzman is a terror right-handed, hitting over 350 this year. It appears his mini slump is over. And here's Nyjer Morgan, who's 0 for 3. He's hit the ball in the air 3 times. In a closer ball game, Nyjer might be bunting here, but up by 5, you doubt it.
Well, and with Brandon holding on Christian, he might want to just drag bunt one through the hole.
Yeah, for a base hit.
He did down in Houston. Use the right side of the infield as much as the left.
He hasn't employed that little butcher boy slug bunt, but that one time. And Nyjer told me he's going to pull that out several more times this season. You know, and the other thing is the right fielders for these ball clubs, especially against left-handers, they play 110 feet off the line. He could just about flare anything down there and it'll drop. In the air again, right to the center fielder who's playing in left center. Nyjer 0 for 4. The bobbleheads are back and better than ever. And next Saturday, June 19th, you can get a free Ryan Zimmerman bobblehead presented by PNC Bank. Game starts at 4:10. So hurry in, get your own Zimmerman bobblehead. And a special note, that's a 4:10 ball game. Make your Metro driving and parking plans accordingly.
So we have that day off, right?
That is a Fox telecast.
There you go.
And now that Strasburg has pitched today, barring any complications, he appears to be all set for Friday night. Ryan Zimmerman 0 for 3. Flied out on a 3-0 pitch last time, and he will inside out a ball to right field. Got him around the trademark, strong enough to get a base hit. Ryan's second hit in 11 at bats in this series, and here comes your friend, Big Bad
Dunn.
Dunn, yeah.
Or Paul Bunyan. Well, this is just some great hitting right there. He gets jammed, but he still fights it off and fights it to right field. We saw Santana on their side of the diamond fight off an inside pitch from Strasburg. So part of hitting is taking those jam shots and getting them out over the infield. And bringing up a guy like Big Bad
Dunn.
Beautiful.
By the way, Strasburg today, 95 pitches, 1 more than Tuesday, 52 strikes, 13 fewer than Tuesday. And 2 on, 1 out here in the top of the 7th. The Nats trying to just bust this thing open, if they haven't already. And a 1-1 to Dunn, having a perfect day. And he'll chop it first base side. Handled there by Branyan for the second out. Both runners move up. And a 2-out opportunity for Josh Willingham. Don't forget about grown-ups. Boys will be boys. Some longer than others. All-star cast. Grown-ups in theaters June 25th. We'll have to catch the matinee.
Well, it's time to lay the hammer down again. Had a double his last time up here. Hard throwing lefty. Let's see if he makes a mistake from the middle of the plate in on the hammer.
That double set up. Pudge Rodriguez 2-run double to follow. And then Ian Desmond's 2-run triple after the walk to Morse. Nationals have out hit the Indians 9-2 today. So Strasburg didn't have a great day, and he gives up a run on 2 hits. I was pretty sure he was going to walk somebody this year.
See, but you're saying that wasn't a good. I'm saying that's a quality start. He dominated that team until he ran out of gas. Mechanics got a little loose. Mound came into his head. I thought that was an excellent start.
Okay. I'd be interested in his description of it. We'll find out later.
Really?
You'll hear his post-game press briefing live here on MASN 2 HD.
We just want our starters to give us a chance to win, and he did all that and then some today.
Willingham a walk, a double today. And a bouncer to short on 2 hops to Anderson Hernandez. The Nats are done in the 7th. They get 2 hits. They strand a couple of runners. They've left 5. This HD Nationals baseball broadcast on MASN, brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Your local Ford dealer invites you to experience Ford like never before. Ford, drive one. Carnegie Street, Ontario Street, Progressive Field in Cleveland. Here's our game summary at the 7th inning stretch. A big day for Adam Dunn. He's not alone, though. Hafner has a homer for the Indians. That's their only run. And Steven Strasburg throws 95 pitches in 5 1/3. He's in line for the W. 8 strikeouts, 4 walks. Drew Storen still in the ballgame, and a really good job, Rob. Bases loaded 6th inning.
Oh yeah, and this other rookie's pretty good too. Drew Storen, the sandwich pick from last year, already up in the big leagues, making some noise. Bases loaded, 1 out after Strasburg left. Pops up Branyan, and then he's just going to blow away Peralta. So has inherited 12 runners on the season. 0 have scored.
Bottom of the 7th for the Indians. Valbuena, Hernandez, and Crow. I thought something was on the field. Brian Onora.
Yeah, it's called the watch.
Brought things to a pause. The TV.
We're not back from break yet.
Timeout.
See, like in hockey, they have that big red light. We just need some kind of big red light you hold up so everybody else in the building knows that.
By the way, each team has a TV timeout remaining, Rob.
We're not back yet.
And the possession arrow belongs to the Nats. That hit him, I think. No reaction by the hitter. Evidently didn't hit Valbuena. Skipped right under his spikes. 1 ball, 1 strike.
These are some quick dance moves right here. He gets up out of the way.
You know what?
Yeah.
When you're down by 5, you've got to sell that to the umpire to try to get on base.
Well, he wants to hit his way on.
Yeah, at 167.
He wants to make that 167 go away. He's on the interstate right now.
2-1. Mets now lead 7-3 at Baltimore's 6th inning. Trying to sweep there. Phillies 4-1 at Boston. Marlins 2-1 at Tampa Bay. Braves 6-0 at Minnesota. The National League East is putting up quite an interleague stand today. And the Nats 6-1 here.
This is not the guy you want to walk right here. Hitting a $167.
None of these guys down here. Anderson Hernandez, no power.
I kind of like that as a name,
Hernanderson.
Hernandez.
But we always talk about this, the second inning when a reliever comes back out. You talk about that adrenaline pump you've got going. Then you go sit down for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
It's not easy. It flushes right out of your system, and now you come back out and you feel like you never had adrenaline. And you're trying to motivate yourself to get back up there to a higher level.
Got him looking. Valbuena trying to walk his way aboard, and Storen strikes out his second straight batter.
No, those shoes weren't made for walking, Valbuena. Beautiful fastball right down Broadway.
First out here in the 7th. Anderson Hernandez will be next. 10 strikeouts by the young guns of the Nats today. Drew Storen's second professional season. 28 total games last year after signing and getting himself to work. He's like the guy who shows up 5 minutes before the shift starts and says, "Where do you want me, boss?" While others are thinking of ways to get out of work.
And he shot right up the system too. A-ball, AA last year, then AA, AAA this year, and then the big leagues. So for him, it was all about throwing strikes and getting work last year in the last 3 months of the minor league season, which ends September 1st.
Now the Nats walked this guy last time. You cannot walk Anderson Hernandez twice in a game. It's not allowed. Top of the order next, Trevor Crowe. Drew Storen, another reliever, young in his career, who works off the full windup with men not on base. And another strike as Hernandez tries to wait him out.
I like the full windup. I worked my entire career from the full windup with nobody on base. It's more arms and legs coming at you.
Don't you feel stronger coming off the mound doing that?
Yes, you do.
With the weight shift and everything?
Momentum.
All right, he threw him 3 strikes in a row. Guzman scoops it up, and 2 quick outs here in the 7th.
Way to come back.
Today's copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Top of the order now, Trevor Crowe 0 for 3 today and 1 for 11 in the series. Time to get ahead, and he does.
Just a bit outside.
Crowd of almost 33,000 here today. So doubling up on what they usually draw as their average attendance. Top of the order. And a 1-1 to Crowe.
So what now? Stevens got 22 strikeouts and 5 walks.
Yeah.
In what, 13 innings?
12 1/3 major league innings.
Pretty good ratio. 6 hits.
And that ball out into right center. Nats don't have anybody playing out there. And Morgan can't reach it. He was way over toward left center. And the Indians have their third base hit. So Drew Storen made Crow earn his way on. And Nyjer Morgan had to go a long, long way to get there.
And this is worth a dive. He went a long way to try to make this play. Bernardina's backing him up, so he's got good speed behind him. Go for that one. There's 2 outs. If you make that, it ends the inning. So this is a valiant effort right there by Nyjer. And that's going to bring in Doug Slayton.
So Jim Riggleman goes situational here. Switch hitter on deck. So it'll be Slayton against Chu. Storen, great job in the 6th. Slayton now in the 7th. Indians with a runner aboard here in the 7th with 2 outs. Nats on top by 5. After a day off tomorrow, Tuesday, 7 p.m. MASN HD, the Nats and John Lannon continue the road trip in Detroit. John 2-3, 5 ERA. Having a hard time with left-handed batters who are hitting over 400 against him. John not that great last time out. Couple of good starts before that. And right-hander Max Scherzer. He's 2-6 with a 6.3 ERA. The Tigers have some pitching issues of their own. He's 1-5 in their last 6 starts. We'll get you going with Johnny and Ray. 6:30 Nats Extra, presented by your Washington Ford dealers. Tigers, by the way, are 5th in the American League, hitting .270. And their pitching staff, ERA right about the same range as the Nats, 4.1 to 4.2. Big ballpark over there in Detroit, Comerica Park. Not as big as it used to be. They had to bring in the left field wall after even Al Kaline couldn't reach it in batting practice. And that's a strike to Shin-Soo Choo. 0 for 3 today. But they've got some arms over there, Rob.
They got some great arms.
Justin Verlander on Wednesday.
Rick Porcello, Phil Koch's done a fabulous job out of the bullpen. They sent Scherzer down for a little bit.
Choo slices one
That's
toward
foul.
the line, going foul.
But they definitely have revamped that team that they didn't win a World Series with. So they said, okay, we'll get rid of Granderson. They brought in a fabulous Yankee farmhand, top prospect in the minor leagues, Austin Jackson. He's having an amazing year. Forget just rookie of the year, like MVP type stuff.
Tyler Clippard getting ready for the 8th.
Made a bunch of
or
trades.
maybe for Santana.
Traded with the D-backs, traded with the Yankees, and so Dave Dombrowski was really busy this offseason.
Dave Dombrowski's always busy. They don't call him Dealin' Dave for nothing. Yeah, Clippard could come in to face Santana, right-handed hitting catcher next, and then pitch the 8th. Jim Riggleman's bullpen fairly well rested in a losing effort. J.D. Martin got 22 outs last night. Actually got 23. And Miguel Batista only had to get 1 out to close out that ball game. Popped up over by the dugout. Where's the guy in the red shirt? He's not there, only the guy in the gray shirt. The inning's over. Top of the 8th inning. Nats on top 6-1. Pudge Rodriguez, a huge double today. He's 1 for 3. Great job behind the plate as always. Pudge, Bernardina, and Desmond straight ahead. On to the top of the 8th. The Nats on top by 5 here in Cleveland. And June is a great month to take a look at our future down in Potomac. Dollar drink specials with the Potomac Nationals on Thursdays. Fireworks show after every Saturday home game, and a chance for kids to run the bases after every weekend game. So when the Nats are gone, check out the PoNats 703-590-2311 and join the party with the Potomac Nationals. Tony Sipp, left-hander, makes his second appearance of this series. He pitched on Friday night, walked a man, came right out. And Ivan Rodriguez will lead off. Pudge has a double today, good for 2 RBIs, 19 on the year now. Trying to add another multi-hit game onto his resume this year.
There
And
it is.
as if on cue, he's 2 for 4. And Rob, he's 4 for 8 in the series. The guy just keeps on going. His consistency impressive.
Well, his conditioning keeps this guy young. He is as hard a worker off the field as he is on. And so that's why his final couple of at-bats, he's looked fantastic today.
Roger Bernardina bats for the first time.
I was going to say, you would think a 38-year-old guy that's caught nearly 2,400 games in the major leagues would be a little bit more tired on a day like today.
Bernardina high in the air to right center.
Bye-bye.
See you later. His 3rd career home run, all of them on the road. 2 in New York, 1 in Cleveland, and the Nats now lead 8-1.
That boy is good.
Wow.
Well, you take Mike Morse out, you bring this guy in, and then they bring a lefty in. Throwing hard, and Roger Bernardina throwing some wood a little bit harder, Bob. And I love watching our young bucks go around the bases like that.
Roger Bernardina has now hit safely in 9 of his last 11 games, hitting about 350 over that time. Wow. That's where the big guys hit him out there. Here's Desmond. Boy, good things happen when you hit the ball in the middle of the ballpark, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And Desmond, he had his triple over the outstretched glove of the center fielder Trevor Crowe his last time up. So the Nats 2 more home runs today, 57 on the year, and they're stepping well up into the top half of the league in the power department. Desmond with a base hit to left.
Well, and you talked about looking forward to Strasburg's next start. Actually, I'm not. I mean, I know what he can do. I'm looking forward to the 4 starts in between.
Sure.
We have to get more consistent starting pitching if we're going to go to the next level. Better defense if we're going to go to the next level. So it's, you know, if it's going to be the Steven Strasburg show, okay. He's got about 15 starts left in the season, but I can't wait to see the other guys start their games. They deserve some credit for getting us to this point, but they got to take it to the next level too.
Nationals pounding out 12 hits today. On the road this year, not too many games like this. 3 hits in a row, 7-run lead. Here's Gonzalez. Players are called these laughers, where you can just relax in the dugout, enjoy the day, and you've got a big lead.
No, but it's not a laugher to us salvaging a series already won by the Indians.
Point well taken.
Oh,
Look at Alberto hit one a mile foul. Off the glass of the stadium club down there. I saw him park a few over that 19-foot wall in left field during BP today.
over the Cleveland Clinic, a very good orthopedic clinic that I have visited before.
He's going to visit the left field corner. Desmond around second, heading for third. Pat Listash going to go ahead and send it. It took a while for Kearns to dig it out, and the Nationals lead 9-1. And Gonzalez gets his 2nd RBI of the year. Boy, these hits,
Now bring Tim
every one of
Belcher.
them rocked.
Yep, their pitching coach, my former teammate, Tim Belcher, out of the dugout to go talk to his pitcher, and these are just ropes. Now you got guys at the bottom of my order, Desmond and Gonzalez, just torching you, getting too much of the hitting zone. Good for Gonzo. He's made some great defensive plays. That one defensive play, probably about what, about the 5th inning, Bob, where the guy tried to lay down a bunt.
That was in the 5th with a man aboard.
Fabulous play that'll go unnoticed tomorrow with all the Strasburg talk. But filling in for a Gold Glover, that was a fabulous play.
Fifth man up in the inning is Christian Guzman. He's already 2 for 4. He goes up hacking. These guys smell blood, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And like you said, they know that they've struggled the first 2 games, and so some guys are getting some quick, crooked numbers up there and getting some stats back. But give the Cleveland Indians a lot of credit. Carmona and Westbrook manhandled our lineup, and it's not easily done.
Yes, they did.
Remember, Westbrook's a trade bait guy. Talked about that. I like that 90-mile-an-hour knuckleball combo. You don't see that too often. It's just like R.A. Dickey, maybe a little bit better because he's got a good slider in there too.
One and 2 to Christian Guzman with nobody out here in the 8th. And a little pop up right into the dugout.
Right back out of the dugout into the stands for a souvenir.
A win today would even the interleague record at 3-3. 3 in Detroit, 3 with the White Sox. The Royals and the Orioles still coming over the next 2 weeks. Royals got one for the American League today, winning 7-3 at Cincinnati. Everybody in the East still ahead in their ball games. And Guzman bounces one into deep short. That'll get through. Gonzalez will stop at third. 5 hits in a row.
There's still nobody out in this inning.
Christian Guzman, a 3-hit day. And that'll bring up the hitless Niger Morgan.
Well, and now that gets the Indians bullpen back up.
Now batting, center fielder number 1, Niger Morgan.
And I can tell you from a reliever's perspective, this is not the kind of game you want to come in and try to get 3 outs. When the other team's swinging like this.
Indians have the Mets coming in Tuesday before they go to Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Cincinnati. They're like the Nats. They play the Reds home and home every year like the Nationals do the Orioles. The intrastate rivalry.
Yep, the Ohio Cup they used to call it when we played them before the season started.
Nearly 33,000 in the ballpark today. Friday night's crowd was their 4th largest of the year, and this one the biggest since opening day. Morgan offered, took it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. But this ballpark used to be sold out mid-90s for several years.
I think it was 422 if my memory serves me correctly.
Niger Morgan is 0 for 5 today.
I apologize. I was corrected. 455 in a row.
Yeah, evidently they've retired that number. No player will ever wear 455 on his back. Up there with Bob Feller, Lou Boudreau, Earl Averill, Mel Harder, Larry Doby, Bob Lemon. They've had some great tradition here over the years, but not the championships to show for it. Zimmerman smelling some RBIs.
And gets a changeup.
Ryan 1 for 4. Sitting on 35 RBIs since his home run last night. Top of the 8th inning, the Nats have tacked on 3 more here and lead the Indians 9-1. And Zimmerman hits one down the right field line and foul. championship flags up there in terms of divisions. As you mentioned, the Indians, when they had that great run of theirs in the mid to late 90s, went to the playoffs 6 out of 7 years. World championships in 1920 and 1948. Zimmerman strikes out. Not a good at bat for Ryan. And 2 Ks for Sip. Let's have a look at our forward drive of the game. Was it the leadoff swing in the 4th inning?
Could be. Very similar to the leadoff double he hit, but that is crushed.
Sounded like a home run. That's our forward drive of the game. A double earlier, a walk later.
Just like Austin Kearns, you hang it and it'll get banged.
There's another line drive, but it'll carry out to Crow, who struggles with it, makes the catch. The Nats send 8 men to the plate and score 3 runs. 9-1 Washington. On to the bottom of the 8th inning here in Cleveland. It's all Nationals today. Voting open for the All-Star game in Anaheim helps send your favorite Nats to this year's Classic. You can vote up to 25 times at Nationals.com. Vote early, vote often, vote today at www.nationals.com. Doug Slayton stays out to get some outs here in the 8th. No need to go situational, really, now that the Nats have a huge lead. Santana, Hafner, and Kearns, righty, lefty, righty. Miguel Batista basically gets in his work every day, it seems, doesn't he?
He throws whether they ask him to or not.
Batista came in to get 1 hitter, Johnny Peralta, last night, after J.D. Martin gave up a home run to Russell Branyan in the Indians' 7-1 win. Nats have turned the tables today on the Tribe, and here's Santana, 1 for 2 with a walk and a base hit.
So they just don't give that drum a rest even when they're getting blown out. They sit up there and bang that drum.
They've been out there for years and years in the last row of the bleachers.
That's annoying. Thank goodness we're only here for 3.
It's funny when we watch it with the naked eye from up here.
Yeah.
You hear the first bang before, or you actually see his arm go down twice before you hear the first bang. That's about 500 feet from us. I noticed not a whole lot of people sitting nearby. Who did those 4 people make mad? And the count's even 2-2 on the catcher Santana.
Yeah, I think on closer inspection they might have earplugs or something.
One way to turn off that drum is to get an out. Taking a good long look and then ejecting the mask like he has hundreds of times, Pudge Rodriguez.
I'm going to say thousands. Do you think he's caught thousands of those pop-ups?
I don't know. Maybe he knows. I'll have to ask him. We did have a little chat after Friday night's game, and Pudge is proud of the fact that he's made a lot of contact this year. He's only struck out 18 times this year in 138 at-bats now. Making contact, taking the ball the other way. He's doing all the fundamental things that are necessary at this stage of his career.
Well, he came out about 12:22 to go warm up Steven Strasburg. So he couldn't wait for this day to start.
But I love watching Pudge. Not that I don't love him between the lines, but on nights when he's not catching, he's on the top step of the dugout. He is locked in on every pitch.
Yep. He's moving people, talking to the catcher. He's doing all kinds of stuff.
He is the consummate team guy.
I could see him managing one day. He just loves the game. He loves every part of the game.
And he loves people, which you have to as a manager now, because there's a little aggravation that goes with that job. Got to see Carpenter and Dibble every day. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that would keep me from managing.
Taylor.
I think seeing Scoop Taylor every day, she can ask you some tough questions, boy.
Debbie will be back with us Tuesday. We appreciate Byron Kerr being here to help out this weekend. Right here on MASN 2 HD. And a 1-2 pitch to Hafner. Over the bag at second, but there's a Desmond over there. He was playing way up the middle. Ian makes it look easy. 2 down. Long ball game today. It'll be 3 hours plus by the time it's over. As we reach the 4 o'clock hour here in Cleveland, Ohio, it's become a remarkably pretty day. It was just horrible looking this morning. We couldn't see the tops of the nearby skyscrapers because of fog, and it's all burned off. Looks nice. Austin Kearns will have Shelley Duncan pinch hit for him here. Shelley Duncan pinch hit in the ball game here last night and grounded out. 30-year-old, the senior Duncan brother. And Slayton trying to work a 1-2 3/8 inning. 1-1 pitch. Popped into center. Niger Morgan on the way in. So's Bernardina. Ball coming back toward the right fielder. And a 1-2 3/8 for Slayton. Looking good. Top of the ninth. It's all Nats in Cleveland today. Here's our game summary going into the ninth inning. Huge day for Adam Dunn. A huge swing for Roger Bernardina in the eighth. And Steven Strasburg not as huge as he was Tuesday night, but effective enough, Rob, to get 8 strikeouts and only give up a run on 2 hits.
Well, it was a hot, humid day. He fought with the mound. Really didn't have to fight too much with the Cleveland Indians. Gave up a couple of hits, 8 punch-outs, 5 walks, but he was in control until the 6th inning. It just kind of fell apart a little bit. It's understandable when you're 21.
Had some issues with the mound in his landing area that could have caused his lack of control with 5 walks. I'm sure that will be asked of him during his post-game press conference live here on MASN 2 HD. But he gets in 5 2/3. 5 1/3, pardon me. And Andy Marte will take over at first base for the Indians. Shelley Duncan stays in the ball game to play left. And the new pitcher is Kerry Wood.
Well, and the side note is really on the games is that he's getting major league work in. You know, most kids his age are down in the minor leagues and they're toiling down there in AA or AAA. He's up here going through all this learning experience, and his learning curve is a lot sharper than other guys.
Yep.
He went down and made 11 minor league starts, and boom, he's in the major league. So he's going to have days like today.
And some have anointed him the next great pitcher. Well, we'll wait and see, right?
It's not fair. I mean, he let him put in some time, and he's willing to do the time. It's just, you know, everybody thinks he's like Elvis right now.
Kerry Wood broke in with the Cubs in 2000. Nobody thought that 10 years later his career record, at least coming into the season, would be 80 and 64. He's 1-2 this year, so 81 and 66. Lots of injury problems. Rob, a guy who threw across his body early in his career and paid the price, really.
Still does. You can watch him right here. He's going to land on the right side of the mound and come across, and that has messed him up for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Watch where he lands here on the mound. This is if you drew a straight line on the mound, he's on the wrong side, and then he's got to come across that left leg.
Willingham just looks at it and strikes out.
Causes arm problems, leg, knee, hip. We've got our own guy that does that, and he tore his labrum, and that was Ross Detweiler. Here you see he'll step to the right and then come across, and it's just so much stress on the throwing arm. And it's about stress versus the physical being of a human. You know, your shoulder, first of all, you're not supposed to throw over the top as a human.
Yeah.
And you're doing that. So now if you throw across your body, it's two things you're doing wrong. But he's still got some good life on the fastball and still has one of the best breaking balls I've ever seen.
Pudge Rodriguez to the second baseman, 2 outs. Kerry Wood, 20 saves for the Indians last year, 34 for the White Sox the year before that. As he was made a closer, they just want him to go pedal to the metal for 1 inning, and we'll see you in the next day or so. Johnny and Ray in the studio. Verizon Fios Nats Extra coming up. Exclusive live press conference featuring Steven Strasburg. Johnny and Ray visit with Jim Riggleman, and lots of clubhouse reaction via Byron Kerr coming up. Roger Bernardina, 2-run homer last time, his third as a big leaguer, all of them on the road. Single-handedly got the Nats a win in New York several weeks ago that gave them 2 out of 3 against the Mets. Nationals are really the only team that's done any winning against the Mets at Citi Field this year. Bernardino rips one off of Kerry Wood's backside, and he'll beat it out.
Ow.
Pitcher's mound, a dangerous place today.
Well, this is a one-hop bullet that just hits him in the back. It looks like the thigh or maybe the gluteus maximus, but still scary. Anytime a guy that's got that kind of potential, especially Bernardino, quick bat, gets around a little bit late on that outside heater.
Here's Ian Desmond, who has a 2-hit day now. Make it 3. He'll sacrifice that bat for a 3-for-5 day. And the Nationals have 16 hits.
Scherzer landing on Tuesday.
Yes.
A few hits for that one for Johnny's start.
And Scherzer has a very high ERA, over 6. Here's Alberto Gonzalez, who hooked one down into the corner for an RBI double last time. Well, Kerry Wood still pitching. Mark Pryor isn't. They were supposed to be the stars of the Cubs rotation for many, many years before health intervened.
Well, Bob, this is the 3rd time this year. April 18th against Milwaukee, they had 16 hits, and May 13th against Colorado, they had 16 hits. So not bad. 3 times in 1 year.
Yeah, 2 of those on the road. That's a busted bat, and Alberto is gone. Nats get a couple of hits. They strand 9 runners today, but they score 9 and lead by 8. 3 outs to get. And it's the bottom of the 9th coming up. We can have a little fun for a change with the Nats on top comfortably on the road. Doesn't happen very often. Nationals had lost 15 of 21 road games coming in. Rob, we talked about this earlier. When Pudge Rodriguez comes to work, he puts in a full day.
Well, and he has fun doing it too. He's one of the hardest workers on and off the field, but he's working everything. Every player, he's getting everybody involved. Talking to Strasburg, out here early, about 45 minutes before the game, just to warm up the pitcher. And he put some good work, solid work in at the dish too. Some big hits today. So Pudge Rodriguez, yep, truly blessed, and we're truly blessed to have him on this ball club.
Miguel Batista will come in and try to end the weekend quickly here in the 9th. For the Nats will fly on to Detroit tonight, which isn't that far to the northwest of here. Probably be about a 20-minute flight over Lake Erie and into Michigan. Tonight, to play the Tigers for 3 starting on Tuesday. Andy Marte replaced Russell Branyan at first base in the top of this inning.
Motor City Madman.
Home state of our director, Dougie Lackey.
Dougie.
And we'll try to enjoy the band at the airport when our plane pulls up. Should be special. They'll be playing that Big Blue theme song from Ann Arbor. Don't mention that.
You don't want to
here
mention that here in Ohio, man. Still want to make it out of Cleveland.
Well, I heard that no matter how the Big Ten gets realigned, Michigan will play Ohio State every year. They have to. Two and one from Batista to Marte, Peralta and Valbuena coming up in the 9th inning. That ball hooked and fouled.
Look out.
Always good when everybody comes up smiling. John Lannon, Max Scherzer, Tuesday night from Comerica Park in downtown Detroit. Marte hits it well to left center. Willingham can only watch for the carom. Plays it well. Throws it well. Leadoff double. That's only the Cleveland Indians' 4th hit of the day. Storen and Slayton were pretty effective, pitching 2 2/3, only giving up 1 hit by Drew Storen. But really, for the Indians, their day ended when Storen popped up Branyan and struck out Peralta with the bases loaded in the 6th inning. Nationals were ahead 6-1 at that time, and the Indians had one more shot to make a comeback, and Storen shut the door right in their face.
Well, and this is a little side story here. 3 straight strikeouts today. Well, now they're going to send up Donald for Peralta.
Jason Donald, who played some solid shortstop first 2 games of this series. The Nationals did evidently end the 10-game hitting streak of Shin Soo Choo today. And a pop-up right side could be playable for Adam Dunn. Not quite. Tigers won their game today, getting ready for the Nats. They beat the Pirates at home 4-3. Phillies 5-1 in the 9th at Boston. Marlins 6-1 in the 7th at Tampa Bay. Braves 7-0 in the 7th at Minnesota.
Break up the Braves.
How about the NL East dominating interleague play today? And the Mets 11-4 in the 8th at Baltimore. That looks safe. So when the Nats go into Detroit on Tuesday, the Tigers will be 33-29. And at home, they'll have a record of 20-10. So they're playing 600 ball at home. They're playing 667 ball at home, where the Nats are playing 600. Solid Detroit team. Broken bat. Guzman has it, and the barrel of that bat on a fly hit the screen right in front of the fans sitting in those dugout seats on the third base side. So Batista gets an out. Valbuena is the hitter. And a strike to the second baseman. 0 for 3 today. Dibble, dibble, dibble. That guy's just driving you crazy.
I'm trying to block that guy out.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I know what you're.
That's why they make like Advil and etc. and stuff.
After
guys like that.
After 220 games now, I'm reading your mind.
Oh, goodness gracious! It's 16 to 4 in hits, buddy. Give it a rest.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to loosen those screws a little bit on that thing. That'll drive in a run as Valbuena doubles down the right field line.
See, now he's thinking when he goes home.
That's a hold him to a single.
It's my drum banging that got that run in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
Come on, Miguel.
That'll bring up Anderson Hernandez.
Roll a double play right here. Well, Valbuena scratches out a hit today. And an RBI. So it's not a total loss for his day at the yard. 1 for 4.
Anderson Hernandez 0 for 2 with a walk. Nats about their grab, their 31st win of the year. By the way, the Yankees are ahead of Houston, and with Tampa Bay trailing the Marlins, New York and the Rays could be tied for first at the end of this day, and the Yankees have been just steadily pursuing Tampa Bay.
And the Red Sox not falling too far behind.
They started the day only 4 back, but they're trailing. Bottom of the 9th, they're hitting against the Phillies down 5-1.
Doesn't look like the pitchers are tricking too many people up in Colorado. 5 to 3 in the 3rd. 12 hits already for both clubs.
Yikes.
That could be a long day.
Hernandez up the middle. That'll sneak through. Batista reached down and got nothing but error. And now 3 out of 4 hitters have reached safely. And Jim Riggleman really doesn't have to get another pitcher up here, does he? It looks like the phone just rang in the bullpen.
Well, that's good pitcher's pitch down, but even better job of hitting by Anderson Hernandez.
That ball actually hopped over Miguel's glove. Sean Burnett now. And top of the order for Trevor Crowe. Crowe 1 for 4 today, 2 for 12 in the series. And Batista misses low. A 9-2 ball game, 2 on, 1 out. Pitches in the inning, 1 out. That one was pretty close. Those 4 people who were sitting by the drummer are now gone. Now the bases are loaded. Five batters, 3 hits and a walk, and now Chu will get a chance to keep his hitting streak going. He would have had to have been the 6th batter here in the 9th, and here he comes.
Yep.
And so's McCaddy.
Yep. Had to bring Chu up to the plate.
I know. I'm totally responsible for this, and I feel bad about it.
Bob Karma Carpenter.
Rob Drama Dibble.
I've been called a drama.
First thing that came
from
to
my wife. Very nice.
Now Sean Burnett's been joined by Tyler Clippard.
Oh, and believe me, they're happy.
They're not real
get
pleased.
hopes. Like they're already planning where they're going to eat tonight in Detroit. What? I got to still work?
Ring, ring.
Oh, no. Come on, Miguel.
Get him up.
Even better yet, Bob, how about end the guy's streak, making him round into a double play here?
I like it.
No.
I think the mound is tilted toward the third base dugout with all the outside pitches we've seen today. That's a fly to deep left center. Niger Morgan has to play the carry. Runners have to hold up.
Throw him out.
2 men score.
Got him.
Maybe. He did get the plate. And now it's 9-4. And Jim Riggleman may have to get Batista out of this game. And Chu does rescue his hitting streak. He almost hit a grand slam. Odd play. That was a single that went 400 feet because the runners were hung up in front of him.
Well, he thinks he got it, so he stands at home plate, but he really had nowhere to go. Logjam on the base pass. They all had to wait for it to hit the wall, and that makes it a play at the plate. And Anderson Hernandez is great speed. He scores from first, and that's going to end the day for Batista.
Well, a bad inning for Miguel. A walk and 4 hits. Could be responsible for up to 5 runs, and it's now a 9-4 game, 2 outs to get. After a bad 9th inning by Batista, the Indians only need another runner or 2 before this becomes a save situation, and Matt Capps may have to warm up. Unless Clippard goes the distance and gets this thing over with. Santana and Hafner, numbers 3 and 4, his next 2 hitters. Tyler Clippard getting his first big league save on the homestand. And that was the win over the Pirates 4-2 on Thursday night that enabled the Nats to sweep that series. Carlos Santana, the switch hitting catcher. And you go into the 9th inning leading 9-1, and now your closer has to throw.
What did I tell you last year? Good setup, guys. Get the closer in for the save, even in blowouts. No, this is a little bit too large of a lead to want Matt Capps to have to throw. There's an off day tomorrow, though.
First pitch changeup. I guess maybe he was changing up off of his warm-up tosses when Santana saw him bringing it, and he thought he was getting first pitch fastball in a 5-run game. And another. No balls and 2 strikes. Then he goes fastball and misses upstairs.
I have no problem when he does that because those first 2 changeups were perfect. This kid's not ready for those changeups at this level. And then you pepper him back with about a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. So now throw a changeup in the dirt and you got him.
Off-speed pitch. Lofted into right. Bernardino there.
Off the end of the bat.
And the second out of the 9th. power matchup coming up with the DH Hafner walking in. Johnny Holiday, Ray Knight standing by. Nats Extra presented by Verizon Fios. And the Steven Strasburg press conference, part of our post-game coverage today. All right, one out to get and then get out of here. Been a rough weekend for the Nats. Outscored 14-3. Steven Strasburg about to go 2-0 with one more out here. And Hafner 1 for 2. A homer, a grounder, 2 walks, stepping in. And a 1-1 pitch. Popped him up left side. Can it stay in? Gonzalez reaching.
Got it. Oh,
and it fell out of his glove.
But he went for it. He wanted a piece of those fans.
Yeah, he dove in. He was daring
Nice job, Berto.
anybody to get in his way that time.
Yeah.
Fan cost him a catch earlier today.
He makes a heck of an effort right here going into that Indian crowd and almost.
Looked like as he went to show the ball to the umpire, it came out. Had it.
No, I think when he hit the wall, that. Nice catch.
Oh, doesn't have.
Okay, nice almost catch. Come on, you want the strikeout right here anyway.
Two and two. He goes changeup and a bouncer to Desmond to Guzman. Game over, and the Nats win it 9-4. Took 3 hours and 24 minutes. But when the Nats are on the road, they don't care how long it takes. Every road win badly needed. For Rob Dibble and Byron Kerr, Bob Carpenter, the Nats win and salvage a game in 9-4 over the Indians. Join us Tuesday, MASN HD. The Nats open a series in Detroit. We'll get you going at 6:30 with Nats Extra. This has been a presentation of MASN. Stay tuned now. Verizon Fios Nats Extra coming up right now. Good work by Storen. Strasburg 2-0 from the booth. So long for just a while.